Should be rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, sitting in like a casting couch here. So, it's been an interesting day to say the least. We are in Sioux Falls, not Sioux City, South Dakota, and got the opportunity to train 2 different polishing crews today. Let everybody introduce themselves, but I'll kind of get it rolling a little bit. One of you guys both do dealer work?
Yeah.
Mainly for dealers?
Yep.
So most of it's refurbished stuff?
Yep.
And some of this stuff comes in crazy rough. Like the stuff we seen today wasn't too terrible. It's pretty common to the stuff I see through my shop on a regular basis. We'll get into that a little bit later as well, but I'll let you guys all introduce yourselves. Like I said, we're in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and
Hartford, technically.
Hartford? That's where this is? Okay, so I was stayed in Sioux Falls.
Yeah, technically, I mean, to the world or nation. Right?
This is the Hartford, South Dakota.
They don't know Hartford.
Because you guys are from up in
Brookings.
Brookings, South Dakota. And that was like, you said 45 minutes out?
Yep. 45 minutes north.
North? So it's not too crazy far. So you guys are pretty close together in areas for companies. I mean, you kind of compete in the same. I guess you guys don't really compete much with each other. I mean,
they do a lot of our stuff, actually.
yeah, you guys send a lot of work to them.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I guess for me, the reason I want to do this podcast with you guys is because you're 2 companies that are working together for a common goal. It's like you guys aren't competing with each other to try and beat each other out. You guys are handing work to each other. Tommy didn't want to be on camera, so he's going to sit next to you. And I'm sure you'll hear him chime in sooner or later. But he's going to kind of be like, what was that Tool Time show where the neighbor, like, you never saw his face? Wilson. Yeah, so that'll be Tommy back there. But go ahead and introduce yourselves and say what company you work for.
I'm Kyle Kramer. I'm the owner of Double K Sales and Detailing.
I'm Grant Roper and I work for Double K.
I'm Jesse and I work for Double K Sales and Detailing also.
Alec Matea, and I work for Tommy, who's hiding from the camera at the American Truck Store, Detail and Polishing, TATS.
TATS. That's what it stands for?
Yeah.
What does it stand for?
You just shortened it up.
The American Truck.
The American Truck
The
Store.
American Truck Store? Okay. I was trying to figure that out yesterday when we looked at it. I was like, what does TATS stand for? I thought maybe it was like a play on words for your name, but it's the American Truck Store.
Really, I mean, like a tattoo, you're doing like body work. You know, cleaning up your body, making it look cool.
That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, I figured there had to be some other story behind it, but.
It's a double meaning, kind of.
And you guys both do full restores. Paint.
Yeah.
Paint, frame paint, motor paint, interiors, paint buffs. Pretty much anything but motor work.
So pretty much everything but mechanical.
Yep.
Yeah.
But for you guys here, you guys have a mechanic working full time?
We have like 3 of them.
3 of them?
3 different places that we can, source them out to, I guess. It's not really our mechanics, but yeah, we literally within a block here, we have someone that can paint the cabs. So, I mean, anything for the truck. And then, we do the frame paint, engine paint too. Then we have mechanics. We have 1 mile away, probably, maybe a mile and a half, and then 1 literally 3 shops down.
And then you guys buff paint as well, both of you guys.
Yeah, basically everything that you can do with a truck, really.
And I gotta say, like, you said your shop's pretty small too.
Yep.
You guys are both in really small, compact type shops. I was asking you yesterday, like, how you polish a grill without opening the hood, or literally got to open the door, roll part of it outside, do it quick before it gets too cold. Because South Dakota here, it's much like Wisconsin. You guys get some cold weather, so it's not like opening the door when it's snowing and blowing is the greatest idea for polishing. Like, we all know that polishing in the cold isn't great,
Definitely not fun.
but you make it work.
Yep, make it work.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing it?
5 years.
So you've been polishing for 5 years? What'd you do before that?
Drove truck in the oil fields.
Is that what got you into it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. I also owned hog confinements.
So what?
Hog confinements, I finished out pigs.
Oh, really? Huh.
Finished them out.
I got them as ISO wounds.
That's terrible.
That's what they call it.
Got bacon now.
I finished pigs.
Yeah. We got a lot of slaughter plants over by us.
So, yeah, I went up the oil fields and drove truck, and I was the only person with a halfway decent truck. So
The oil fields here
up in North Dakota.
when it was booming.
Yep.
And did you get out when it kind of died off, or were you
No,
still
I
there when
just-
it started dying off?
Yeah, it got to be too competitive.
Yeah.
Just didn't like screwing your best friend.
Yeah.
So it's time for me to go.
Yeah. And have you looked back in the 5 years and was like, maybe I'll try something else, or are you pretty well committed?
No, I'm pretty well committed.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it seems like you're always busy. And that's good. For what it's worth, both of you guys look like you're crazy busy all the time, so that's huge. And it's kind of interesting for me to understand the dynamic of two companies working with each other. It's like, I don't get that opportunity very often. Like when I go to shows and stuff, I try to take other polishing crews in just because it's hard for me to maintain everything. There's just so much stuff going on all the time that, like, Louisville last year was 35 trucks. It's hard to keep up with 35 trucks with just one crew, especially when you're doing full details and stuff. So like, I'm fortunate enough that people want to work with me at the shows, but when it comes to back at home, like I have 12 local competitors that I compete with on a day-to-day basis. I personally don't compete with them. If somebody comes and steals them, they steal them. It's their customer. Like, it sucks. You hope that loyalty sticks around, but it's neat to see you guys tossing work.
The cool thing with us, I think, is, because we don't compete with them really. I mean, we're critique because we're egotistical, but even Reflection in Sioux Falls. I mean, the cool thing about with our aspect of it, we're doing our own trucks. Like our owner Dylan buys trucks from all over, and 70 at a time in Austin, buys all these trucks, and we get 10 of them back. So we got to clean those up and try
They
to
gotta get all detailed so you can resell them.
But then we, source out to Double K and Reflection. So like when they get back, it's still helping us.
Yeah.
It's not shit. Sometimes if they get more money out of those, it's cool in that aspect because we're not really competing in that because of that reason. We don't want to go tell them they suck, or not saying you guys suck. I'm just saying we don't want to go tell them that because then they're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything for you anymore.
I can understand that.
But at the same time, everything looks good. So
Yeah. And everything helps you guys out, get stuff out the door too. I mean, you guys got, 30 trucks sitting out here that got to get detailed and polished? How many?
30 or 40.
Yeah.
Jeepers, man.
And then the sale end of it too is cool because like they gotta sell trucks to keep us afloat.
On top of it, I actually trained Tommy. He came up and to learn how to polish out of our shop. So we got them going just a ballpark. I mean, our techniques weren't probably the greatest or the best at the time, but they worked for us. And
Got an idea.
we got the ball rolling.
He wasn't the truck that time. We were sitting in Vanderhooks, and you were telling Bill you should look into this.
Yeah.
You were sitting on it, and he was like, "You serious?"
Kyle's the reason that we even exist, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it's not.
'Cause we bought a truck or something from you. Or
Yep, you guys bought a truck off of me, and I was like, I mean, this is awesome. I made a lot of money, but in the same token, you guys are buying and selling the same thing. Here you go. And he's like,
I know you've called me a number of times telling me that I should have the Nebraska boys come up here more often because there's just so much mobile work that you guys don't do any mobile.
right. So I set Dylan up with you on your rim machine, and that's kind of what it started though. I mean, there was plenty of work out there, and I was so overwhelmed.
I barely knew the difference between a Peterbilt or a Freightliner or anything. I built fire trucks before this, which I had no interest in. And Dylan just called me one day and asked if I wanted to help him start up a new business, and here we are.
Yeah.
I built
That's
fire
awesome.
trucks ever since I got out of high school. I'm 30 now.
So 14 years.
Dropped that and took on polishing when I hate chrome. But that's my
Dylan called me and wanted to know if I detail his trucks, and I said absolutely not. There's no way I can take on anymore.
Shit, within the year and a half I've been here, it's like I came in here and there were some gnarly ones, which I didn't know really how to polish that great, or at all really.
It was a good 6 months before I'd even let him look at a buffer.
Yeah.
I
See,
have
my
guys that
parents
I train
own-
all the time that I don't let them get off of hand polishing for the first 6 months because they need to see what it looks like when it's done before they can get on a grinder.
I just didn't. He'd kill himself looking at one a year ago.
Or kill myself because I didn't want to use one. It was weird. My parents owned semi-detail company.
Really?
What was it called? I can't think of it. It was in Sioux Falls, but it was bought it from a buddy, and the buddy stiffed him and like $125,000 on it. So
That's
they
wild.
sold it. But I was 10 to 12 years old, so I didn't really care. I didn't care if I did anything. You know, I went to the shop to hang out. But and then so I asked him basically. So I was out of jobs and stuff. Yeah, it was nerve-wracking.
So how long has TATS been going?
Oh, the detail part of it? Or
Yeah,
almost 2 years.
almost 2 years. So you're in it 5 years. You're in it 2 years. You've been in it
Year and a half. I'd
year and a
say.
half. So you've been here since almost the beginning. And then you two?
Kind of.
I've been with Double K for 3 years.
So 3 out of 5 years.
Yeah, I've been here for a little over a year and a half now.
And what did you two do before this?
I did road construction.
Really?
I drove a tractor back and forth.
Really?
Listen to the radio.
Hold the steering wheel?
Yep.
I was a manager at Domino's, man. Nothing exciting except tossing dough.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I always tell everybody, like,
I like
your
that
past is your past. It's what built you into what you are now. It's like, but do you enjoy what you do now versus what you were doing before? That's what matters.
You can make a pizza and a whole pepperoni underneath a minute. So.
This is the best one. You don't know what a 9/16 wrench is or what a truck was. He sold beds before this, and now he gets on the phone and I don't even know what he's talking about.
I feel like sales is sales. Like, I hate to demean it a little bit because, like, I'm actually pretty good at sales, but like, it comes down to if I can figure out what it is, I'll figure out a way to sell it. Like, if you're good at sales, you'll figure it out.
He's good at it.
Yeah, there's even at lunch sometimes you like and you can like overhear him. It's like I would not want to talk about that right now at all. Or the people you heard earlier apparently with the voice, like the people
Yeah.
gets talked to, it's like yeah, you
Guys
got way
start
more
chewing
patience than I do.
Yeah. Sales is tough. Like, it's not easy. Like, everybody's like, oh, you're just sitting at a desk. It's like, nah, you got to deal with people all day, every day. Half of those people love you, the other half hate you. It's like, it's not always easy. But sales are sales. Like, if you're good at sales, if you were good at selling beds, you're probably really good at selling trucks too, just because a lot of the sales techniques transfer over from one to the other. I mean, you always have to try to find a way for that customer to be happy enough to want to buy something. So no matter what you're selling, I don't care if you're selling pens or you're selling boats, like, you got to figure out your audience and then figure out the way to sell to that audience.
Try to talk to him, stop him, walking away.
Yeah, you got to, it's a pitch. It's always a pitch. You're playing baseball. A year and a half, 3 years, year and a half, 5, 2. That's a pretty good group. Like, honestly, most polishers I know right now, the industry's very old. There's a lot of old people in it. There's not a lot of new young people in it until like the last 4 years. The last 4 years, it seems like everybody's crawling out of the woodwork. There's a lot more information out there. A lot of people are catching on to being able to polish and knowing how to do it. And it's definitely getting to be a bigger thing. I'm starting to see a lot of people opening up shops. Did you two get into shops like right away, or did you do any mobile to begin with, or was just straight into a shop and start?
No, I was buying trucks and trying to flip them, and I was doing my own stuff, and then I was in a dirt floor shop, and then I was so grateful to get out of that, and I just rented my shop that I'm installing now. So
So you've never done mobile at all?
never.
Really? That always blows my mind because most people can't find enough work to be just steady in a shop right away. But you guys both, like,
It helps that our owner's dad owns these shops, so
yeah.
we kind of had a little hookup.
Yeah,
And the owner worked for another company beforehand too. So I mean,
There's almost all polish shops that I know that started up as just polish shops. Like, most of them go under within the first 5 years because it's such a financial burden to be able to afford a shop right away. Like, I don't know what your guys' pricing is here. Like, I didn't ask you guys pricing the whole time we were here because it doesn't matter to me in my world. Like, whatever you guys charge for polishing is whatever you charge. I don't tailor my pricing based on anybody else's pricing. I have my pricing because it's what I'm comfortable with. It's what I've developed my customers comfortable with. but maybe your pricing is better here. I know you and I have talked about it a little bit over the years that we've known each other. That I know you always tell me my pricing's cheap, but I don't think I've ever once asked you what your pricing is.
I think we're pretty much the same. It's just how you word yours is different than mine. Mine's more blunt and to the point. And it's just, when I first started out, I thought I was too cheap, and then you went way up, and it was like, well, the market made you come back down to reality because you weren't getting the word. So it was a juggling act of how to make your customer happy. You're actually making a little bit of money off of it, and you're keeping busy. So it was a big juggling act when I first started to figure out what's the right price off of the guys that are just dropping off rims that have Viz machines and whatnot, to figure out where you need to be in that whole world.
I feel like finding your market is probably the hardest part for most polishers. Like we talked about this a number of times today while you guys were training, that we're all over picky on our own work, right? I mean, we all dissect our own stuff and we're like, it could be better, it could be better, it could be better. But it comes a point where we've found good enough that most customers can't see the better. They can't see the difference with better. Like, I always tell everybody, I'll teach you how to do better. That's not the hard part. It's finding what your customer's happy with and what they're willing to be acceptable with. Like, you guys are fighting the battle of these trucks are going up for resale. So if the truck's going up for resale, do I need to turn it into a show truck? Well, no, because most of the people that are buying
You're gonna have 5 different people looking at it that have different
taste in polish. Yeah.
Which
Or they're
most
farmers
people,
that don't give a
most
shit.
people, shiny is shiny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it took me a long time to learn that. I would say probably my first 10 years I struggled with that. I still struggle with it now at times because everything that goes out the door has my name on it. And I worry about what my image looks like. Like to some people, I get some guys come through my shop that are just beat up old farm trucks and they're like, I don't want it to look like a show truck. I just want it shinier than it is right now. And it's like,
How far do you go?
where's my cutoff? You know, like I have a limit to, I won't put out quality below this. It's pretty low because I know there's a lot of people that are just okay with here, but I will not let myself go below that. If I have to go below that, I turn the work away. I just won't go below that level. What's the most interesting thing you guys have gotten to polish so far? I know you guys haven't been doing this a long time. Have you guys gone to any of the truck shows and stuff? I know you said you guys have gone to Wheel Jam.
I've been to Wheel Jam, I've been to Louisville. I've been to the one up in Bismarck, North Dakota. I forget what that one's even called. I've been to a couple of them.
I've only ever been to SEMA, I guess, so I haven't really.
Haven't gotten to polish any show trucks or nothing yet?
No, not yet.
No weird stuff?
Couple Special Olympics parades I've been in. I've been around the block.
I had to polish some parts for a little kid's motorcycle that was in a magazine.
Really?
That was pretty cool. Well, you just those 4 clamps.
4 candles and handlebar parts.
Really?
I guess my brother redoes bicycles and he wants me to polish up like some handlebars and stuff for him. And
Oh, dude. I love doing handlebars.
everything like that, so
Don't get them caught in the buffer. They'll spin around and beat you in the face. I can tell you that one from experience. It's not great. Handlebars hurt hard.
yeah, I believe
They're
that.
pretty solid. They don't go too far.
So I'm kind of excited to do that. Hopefully try it out sometime and see how it works.
I really can't think of some oddball thing that I'd really would be cool, I guess. Minus fire extinguishers and railroad spikes, just things when you get bored that we've done the outlets at our shop.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just, it's a cold winter day and you really don't want to do anything, so let's polish something random.
I polished up the copper tubing in my shop for my water spigot. Everybody comes in there like, you polish your water spigot? Like, yeah, sorry. One day I was sitting in there, we were waiting for the truck to warm up, and I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm just sitting there. I'm gonna try something on this copper. Buffed it out real quick. Copper always comes out super easy, but yeah, it's a good conversation piece.
Yeah. And just conversation pieces though, it's just odds and ends stuff.
Did you guys do any polishing at SEMA, or did you just go to hang out?
Just go to hang out.
Yeah. It's nice to just be able to take a break once in a while. Just go out, get out, do something different.
See other people's work. See what the biggest bar. Everybody sets the bar at seeing way up here.
Yeah.
So just to see that and be able to be around that environment is amazing.
I always say associating and seeing what the rest of the market's doing keeps you motivated and driven to keep bettering yourself. Even if you're not doing it for the customers, like I always say, like I have maybe 12 to 20 vehicles a year that I get blank checks on that I can just kind of go crazy on and do what I want to do with it. But I didn't get a lot of those for a long time. Like to go crazy and spend 2 days on something that I could get done in 4 hours. Not a lot of people want to spend that kind of money. I would imagine that this area over here is kind of the same. I mean, I can't believe how many gravel roads are still over here. It just blew my mind yesterday when we were pulling up.
Here in general, I think we're surrounded by gravel roads except for Highway 38, the interstate, and 42 pretty much. And
So it's hard to
264.
keep anything nice around here.
Everything in Wisconsin's paved, so it's always weird for me, like when I go to other states and see that there's still gravel roads everywhere.
All farmland over here.
Well, we got a lot of farmland too, but everything's paved between the farmland. Like, even people's driveways, I was telling Kyle yesterday that even if your house is a mile off the road,
It's paved.
more than likely you have it blacktopped so that you can plow it easier in the winter. Like, it's just the way it is. It's weird, but
You guys got more money than us.
You see a paved road out here, and you're like, dang, that dude has some money.
that's funny. So other than SEMA, you said you've been to Louisville, some of the other big shows.
Yeah, I went to Louisville 4 years ago.
What was the first thing you saw? Well, I know you guys had said, I'll let you guys explain, but what's the first polished thing you saw that you were like, damn, I gotta figure this out?
Nad's race car.
Whose?
Nad's race car back in the day.
Yeah.
We'd go to car shows and I mean there was times during the winter off season it was like literally he would polish his fucking block. I mean he would polish everything just to make it look shiny.
I never understood that. Like a block could get way hotter when it's shiny. Like you polish your block out, it's harder to keep it cool. Like it looks
Polish
cool.
everything. I don't know. I mean there was times where literally like you were saying earlier with the mirrors under the tanks. Like he would literally put them under there just to prove like his car shiny. Like the Winterfest of wheels, he won that over literally like 1969 Camaros that were flawless. It's like,
I guess for me, I started out trying to hand polish, and it never worked. Nothing ever turned out the way that you thought in your head. And when you drive down to Peterbilt, you're like, dang, I really want something on my lot looking that good. And then I bought a Aussie, and that lasted like 2 weeks. And I was like, man, that did not do it. So there was plan B. And then I bought my first rim machine. It was like, how do you even run this thing?
Yeah.
Like, this is nuts. Trying to figure out with nobody really telling you what to do, and just trying to figure it out was just a pain.
That's how the industry was for 15 years. Like I was telling you guys earlier, it wasn't until like the last 6 years that the industry started putting out content that people could actually learn from each other. Like it was a crapshoot. It was a crapshoot for a long time. I mean, I had hardly anything to go off of when I first started. Everything was trial by error.
Right.
I mean, just how it was.
And you didn't really, anything you did see, you didn't really believe. It was really, I mean, at that point, when I first started out, are they lying? Or are they only showing you half the steps? You really didn't believe anything. So
We talked about that earlier today too, that, you know, some of the videos I used to watch, some of the popular YouTubers, like, they just showed you a 10-step process because they wanted you to do 10 steps because they were selling the product. So it was like, well, now I've learned that I narrowed it down to like 2 to 3 steps on almost everything. I mean, you guys saw all day today that I don't try to do any more than 2 steps ever. I try to avoid sanding as much as possible.
And we also talked about those guys that show up. These, like when Jesse's seen it, the guys that show up and, oh, watch this. You need to buy a case of this and get out of my shop. Don't even come back.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't even want to hear it. You're wasting my time just being here now. Just get out. If there was an easy way, I wouldn't have a business.
Yeah.
So there is no easy way.
That's probably the best part about when we released that video about the Lumi polishing out 600 grit, was everybody's like, this looks like a typical sales pitch. Like they show you how awesome it is. And then once we started selling it, we had it in stock and people were ordering it like crazy. It was nice to get a lot of people calling and messaging going, dude, this stuff actually works. Like, I thought it was just a gimmick, but this actually works.
Seeing it in person, I was like, whoa, that's quite a difference. I mean, that's just like, you can take dirt off anywhere and it's just like you took a buffer to it, you know, so
It's helped me out a lot, that's for sure.
Yep. I was gonna say, I guess before I started polishing, you know, the thing is, I actually did not know polishing was a thing, to be honest with you. I never heard anything about it. Didn't know that it was a thing, and when I just applied for a job because I was sick of working at Domino's. I was tired of the way they were treating me, you know, and so I was like, look, I need something different. My girlfriend came across Double K, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna apply for it, you know, it's a sales and detailing, so I figured it, you know, selling trucks or whatever, obviously, has a semi on it, so, you know, but I thought maybe like buffing paint, you know, doing other stuff like that, so I didn't really know the polishing concept, and I walked in and these guys were just dirty. I was like, what is going on? Because I was on the phone with him, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, I want to go home and clean up, and he's like, you ain't got to clean up to come to my shop. I still wanted to look presentable, you know, it's a job interview, I still wanted to. Did not expect what I was expecting when I walked in, and I just walked in. It was like, whoa, like what? And then.
So what was your first thought when you walked in and you saw this place was black? You're like, this is the place I want to work for the rest of my life.
Oh, you know, my first thing was, why are you guys like that? Like that was like,
common.
Does it even come off? Like that was you know. So and then talking with him and everything like that, I was like, you know, I give it a shot, and I got a couple months in, and I realized it's something that I did want to do, you know, it's a nice trade and everything like that, so, but.
Funniest line ever, I think after the second week, it was like, how do you like being dirty all the time? And he goes, I don't mind it. It makes me feel like a man.
Wiping yourself off, just completely black water just flowing down the drain. It feels good. Honestly, like I said, you know, I've probably you see shiny tanks, but if you don't know what it is, like if you don't know somebody polished that, you don't think twice about it. You know, you could I couldn't even tell you how many trucks I passed by that were polished, and would have never thought twice about it.
Now you don't miss a semi going down the rodeo.
Yeah, exactly. Every time, even dirty ones, I'm like, ooh, what is that? You know, it's like, but it's like, so it really got into me and making me want to do better. Is, you know, seeing bosses and Jesse's work, you know, just seeing them and what they got going on and stuff like that. It makes me want to be at their level. But then, like, now that I'm getting up there, I'm constantly like giving them a hard time and like trying to push them to do better, you know, because it's like I want to do
flip
better.
On YouTube and realize that you're really not that good.
right, yeah, right. Until Evans comes along 20 years in the business, and all of a sudden it's like, oh.
Like I said, it's just experience is all it is. Like, you guys didn't do bad on anything you did today. Like, there wasn't anything I saw that I was like, oh, this is gonna need some serious restructure. Like, everything you guys did was fine. Like, you guys are doing a great job over here. Like, real on that truck that just left, I did see the lines you were talking about, and like I said, it was just a pattern and an overlap issue. And that was easily corrected. You guys do the pattern I showed today, you're gonna be golden. Like, that all is just gonna disappear and not be existent anymore. But seriously, like, I try not to compare myself to anybody else because I don't have, not that I think I'm better than anybody else. I just don't compete with anybody because I don't feel like anybody else is putting out the same kind of effort. Like, everybody puts in their own amount of effort. Like, you've only been polishing a year and a half. You work, what time do you go into work in the morning?
We're there by 9 o'clock.
And what time do you leave?
6.
So you're there 9 to 6. What is that?
8 hours.
With an hour lunch break?
Yep.
Okay, so you're there 8 hours. In my peak, I've mentioned this in another podcast before, but at my peak, I was sick of employees. One of my guys quit, started his own business. I was over it. I was like, I'm not doing employees anymore. I'm gonna do it by myself. For a year and a half, I worked by myself, just 100% solo. I did 500 trucks in 1 year by myself. I was getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was averaging 2 to 3 trucks a day. I'd get up at 6 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. I was starting by 5 or 6 in the morning. I wasn't getting done until 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, sleeping a couple hours and doing it again tomorrow. 7 days a week for a year and a half. Like, it was right before my wife and I were starting to have kids. We had bought a house. We were trying to get things off the
I was
ground.
gonna ask that.
So, like, I did an entire year by myself, 500 trucks. And one of the greatest speeches I ever heard was Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan talking to each other. They were talking about how they put in more effort than a lot of other people, and that's what put them apart from everybody else. Most people are putting in 40 hours a week. I was averaging 100, 120 hours a week. It's like working 3 full-time jobs, 3 full-time jobs, 40-hour jobs, and I was just hustling. Like, most people weren't putting in that kind of time. Like, a lot of guys work a lot of hours. Like, a lot of polishers will work 10 to 12 hours. But when you start working like 16, 18, that's when stuff gets real.
That's how it was my second year, right before I hired Jesse. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. Somebody would show up. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Working.
Yeah.
You got to get things done.
Everybody's like, when do you sleep? Like, I'll figure it out. Like, when I get tired, I'll shut it down for a little bit.
I'm gonna shoot the shit with you for another hour, and thanks for stopping at 2:30 in the morning. Now I'm not gonna get done until 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here all night. I mean, that's how far back I was. And that's
But Kobe and Michael said, like, most people go in the morning, they eat their breakfast, they go in and they work out, and then they practice for an hour, and then they take a break because you gotta let your body rest. Well, then they go back in again, and you'll practice at like 5 or 6 in the afternoon, so you get 2 practices a day. Kobe and Michael, they go in at 5 o'clock in the morning, they get one workout, one rep in, then they go eat breakfast, they get an hour rest, they go and put another rep in, and another practice, then they eat lunch, they go in and put another rep in, it's all about what you're willing to sacrifice. Like, if you're willing to sacrifice family time, you could be the world's busiest polisher. Like, there's never a shortage of work. And I did that for a long time. I mean, probably 15 years I hustled hard. But it was that year where I was like averaging 2 to 3 trucks a day by myself. I got a lot of practice time with that grinder. I mean, I learned a lot in that year just by myself because I had to figure out a way to be faster because I didn't want to work 20 hours a day for the rest of my life. Like, I wanted to figure it out. So it's just
You figured it out.
yeah, it's a harder hustle. So, like, I know a lot of polishers that are 30, 40 years into the game that have never put in that kind of time. Like, even in their peak years, they were still only putting in 40, 50 hours a week.
The thing is, I don't see it really as a competition when I go up against these two, kind of thing. I just want to better the shop and better everybody else, and I want to make it kind of enjoyable, like you go in, you beat each other up a little bit, like, and
Friendly
then,
rivalries are good for business.
right, and then you go home and you go about your stuff at home, and then
From
you
the
come
owner
back and
standpoint,
you
I
do
don't
it
know about you guys, but I honestly love it when the guys rip on each other a little bit. Like, it works out pretty good because it seems like it pushes everybody. As long as it's playful and it's not like,
I push it far sometimes.
Sometimes it gets a little out of hand and you start getting annoyed and you're like, just shut up. But
I've
it's
had
like,
employees cry on me before and it was like, I gotta throttle it back. I was a little too far. Like,
I just quit.
Quit for 5 minutes.
there you go, Tommy. You know what's happening if you push him too far.
He's gonna push it far now. One day he's just gonna push it the furthest.
Push until it hits me.
Hit you with a buffer, maybe.
I've been hit enough times to know that's where I stop. Like, I don't want to get hit if I don't have to.
Oh, look at this dude. What's up, big guy?
Gotta guess.
Cute dog.
Gets
Look at
appearance by the big dog.
Look at him, George. You're just cute. I got a Great Dane at home, man. So
Yeah.
big dogs fit right in my world.
He rolled in.
Yeah, I
yesterday.
hear
He
you.
was all kinds of happy.
Yeah, I hear you.
Rottweiler acts like a
God,
Sally cat.
that's cute,
Yeah.
man. God, I want one of those dogs.
So,
Adorable.
what's the? I know we've talked about this a little bit ourselves, but I'd like to get it on film. What's the amount of time you guys spend on a truck? Like, from the time you start a truck till the time you're done with the truck. Now, I want people to understand that the answer to this question is with in mind that you guys are painting frames, you guys are buffing paint, you guys are getting these things front to back.
We gotta tear a bunch of stuff off. Too.
Ours varies so much because we're always constantly getting pulled away from
Yeah.
detailing, and
Gotta help the sales side too sometimes.
one of us is always getting pulled away.
Yeah.
left and right. So it's,
Hours at a time. Like that time I drove that truck 2.5 hours to Iowa.
Yeah.
sometimes we can. It varies way too much.
If
depending
you were
how-
on a
how
truck
bad
just
the
straight
truck-
through, front to back, how long would it take you? If nobody was bothering you?
It still varies too much between day cab, sleeper, how bad it is.
I guess I don't know.
It's
We
kind
just
of
do.
We try to shoot
it's-
for. a
We do
truck a week.
interiors every
A truck a week?
That's what
Yeah.
I shoot for.
I guess it takes us,
2.5, 3 days.
yeah, I try to get them out in 2 days. If they have herds or not, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, you guys got a lot of herd bumpers over here. I know we've talked about this a number of times.
Herds
but
take us a while. If they have herds, that's a whole day by itself.
I think the rotary is going to help you guys cut down a lot of time on that. I feel like you guys are definitely going to knock down a ton of time just getting into the rotary sanding and slowing it down. It'll help you shave down a lot of that herd bumper issues. And especially on the lower grits, like lower grits will shave through that super fast.
Herd bumpers don't take us long because we just won't do them.
I knew.
That's the thing about herd bumpers, man. They can be a pain. But you learn a lot during a herd bumper because it'll make you mad by the time you get halfway through it, where you're just like, this is
That's why we don't.
dumb. Like,
I
I'm
hope they hit
still.
a deer on the way out of here.
That's why we don't do them. Yeah.
That's not even the bad part. The bad part is trying to do the grill while you're standing on top of.
Oh, that's brutal.
Balancing
I
on the
honestly hate that.
That's no joke. That's not fun.
That's why we usually do the herd last and the grill first.
So I got to ask you a question for you three. When you're polishing, is there something that you each specifically do on every truck? Like, do you do just tanks? Do you do just boxes? Do you do just wheels?
We try to, so at first, when you first start with me, you're just wheels. And then we try to work you in when you start seeing more, like you said, and then you step up. Then you go, well, we're going to throw a grind in your hand. Now you're just doing steps. And
You start off with a wheel machine?
Yeah, I've been in there for going on over a year and a half.
Then you do steps and diamond plate.
And you go up from there. Is what you're
Yep.
saying.
And then once you
I'm
feel,
working up to that right now.
once you feel good
I got
enough,
the balls to use that, dude.
once you feel good
Oh,
enough
diamond
to
plate.
do diamond plate, then you step up the tanks, and then you do air cleaners, and then you're pretty much. Then we kind of throw you to the wolves, and then you got a whole truck to do by yourself.
See, his first 5-6 months, all he did was sand stuff,
Yeah.
and I would polish.
Prep and chase.
See,
And
that's
then he slowly got into it. Now, about the only thing he don't do is the wheel machine, which I'm sure he could.
Yeah, I have no
You
desire
can-
to try it.
We've kind of fallen into a routine to where this is his stuff and this is my stuff, but we can both.
But he usually pawns his stuff up on me.
Oh yeah.
It's the beauty of being the boss.
He's about to have a baby, so I'm trying to be nice with it. He's stressed out. I get it.
About to have a baby for a year and a half, huh?
I guess I try to make it, so everybody, if I'm gone, anybody can do whatever in my shop.
Yeah.
Everybody, there is no real boss. We work as a team, 100% of the time. If Krabby doesn't want to do steps or whatever, next person can do it. Or if I just don't want to do anything, it doesn't matter. We all work as a team, and we try to get everything done on time.
see,
But like, if you start the day doing tanks is your thing, or do you do like one? Like, do you split the trucks in half? Like,
So-
one person does one side, one person does the
Sometimes we
other.
do.
so generally I'm in the rim machine room, which isn't a problem because I am the newest one. So it is what it is until we hire somebody else. But there have been times where, like, boss is busy taking phone calls. He's constantly running around because he's trying to do things.
It's a lot of stuff.
We had fleet trucks come in, and he was getting married so he was gone for a week. And needless to say, I guess I did get some help, from boss again, but him being on the phone, trying to sell trucks and just trying to manage everything, it's a lot of work on him if I can do more of it on my own.
See, Alex, he realizes.
So-
more side work than you expect.
So the thing is, and the boss apologizes for that. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't seem like I'm around. I don't.
That's the thing right there. He would never apologize.
See, but that's my thing is I really don't care. I don't care what boss is doing because it's his business. He started it from the ground up. He's the one that made all this possible.
How many people
He's the
understand
reason
that?
that I have a job right now where I'm at. He's the reason I'm at where I'm at in my life right now because he started from nothing. So whatever he does, I can't tell him what to do. You know what I mean? He's the boss, man. So
get
if he
people
wants
try
to
all
sit,
the time.
if he wants to sit out in his truck for 8 hours and try to sell trucks, that's fine. I don't care.
I was gonna say that one sounded a little too personal. Like it was right on the money.
No, I'm just saying. Look, I'm just saying I don't care. So when it comes down to it, the thing is, polishing full trucks.
Like built them up, and just skydived.
So, like when it comes to doing like a whole truck, I have done a whole truck by myself. And I know I can do it. But I like doing rims. So the main things that I like to do is when I come in, the first thing I do is I bust off all the tires and I take all the tires off the rim. So I've just
Because
rimmed.
you guys don't polish any wheels on the truck. They all come off
Just
going
the
into
Just the steers.
Just the steers.
Steers and pushers stay on the truck.
And both of you guys are like that.
Yep.
It's way
And-
easier to do a steer on the truck
I,
than by hand.
and the way you showed us today, I mean, you're pretty quick at it. But I feel like for me, trying to do it the way you did, it would be a lot faster for me to just bust them off and
Yeah,
put them on the rim
that's how I
stream
felt.
and just go that way. And that's just that.
I think that's just a learning curve. I think once you
Yeah, honestly.
I think once
But
you
our
get used to
thing
it-
is, we do the frame paint, so we take the wheels off anyways.
Yeah, the
and
wheels are
flip
coming
the
off
outside
anyway.
ones around.
Yeah.
But so like how it is, so I like to do that. Once I finish the rims, the second thing that I like to come out and do, because I know he likes to do steers. I know how to do steers. That's fine. He can do them. I like to do fuel tanks. That's another really big attraction that I have. That's one of my
A lot of
second
people like
go-to.
doing fuel tanks. They're
I-
big pieces, so it's like
yeah.
you can really have a big canvas. You get to see what you're working on.
So now that I've learned grills, God, I think I've polished 6 grills now. And my first one, these guys went to Sioux Falls, and I was told to do a herd and a grill by myself, and I tried to finish it all in one day, which I did. Needless to say, I finished it all in one day. Did not turn out good at all by any means. He had to come back and redo it all, but.
Yeah, we did both of them the next week.
But either way, after doing that,
Well, you
and
put in the effort and tried. Like,
the second, the third grill, I want to say is where I really started warming up to where I actually, believe it or not, don't tell these guys, but I like doing grills. I do.
grills are tough. Like if you don't get the pattern just right, like they don't come out awesome.
Yep, they do, and
I
so
feel like
that's
it's the main focal point too.
and that's the
That's
thing
the
is,
front. Like
right.
It's the nose piece. It's the piece everybody sees.
I do have a little bit of stripe still in my grills and whatnot. After learning your technique, hopefully I
away
can
with the
take
pattern.
that into it and not have that issue anymore. I can still make some grills look nice already though, and I've only done 6, so that's kind of the next thing that I'm warming up to. And then air cleaners, never did an air cleaner until last week or something like that. I've never touched one. And then I did it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make this look so stripy and everything like that. And as you said, it's really hard. Jesse's like, Jesse was like, air cleaners is one of the hardest things to mess up. If you mess it up, I'll be amazed.
Yeah.
And
I used to be scared of air cleaners too, like for the longest time.
and I did it, and it turned out really good, and I was happy with it. So now I don't mind doing air cleaners. It really all. So now when it comes down to the whole truck, I mean, basically the herd's what I got really to focus on. And now that I know diamond plate took me forever, not that I can't get it to look good, it just takes me so long to do. So now that I know an easier way to
You
do
say
it,
polish it quick today.
yeah, I was
It didn't
yeah
take you long at all.
right.
That's
So
that's the best pizza looking diamond we've ever had in our shop.
Really?
Don't you think?
Fuck off.
So that's just kind of where I'm at with it, So I've warmed up, but to be honest with you, I like doing rims in a rim machine because during a stressful day or even if the prior day was bad, the rim machine room,
It's quiet.
it's your own area, and you're in your own thoughts. You're sitting there and you're like, oh, I can make this rim look really
I
beautiful.
do enjoy
can,
running
It can
the
be a
wheel
happy
machine
room or a
still.
death room.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's your own fate in there. Like you can make it the worst time of your life, or you can make it the best time of your life.
On days
It's
where
what
I'm
you
having a
do.
bad day, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
If I get in my own head, I'll go and sit in the wheel room and just run some wheels, and it's like it just clears your head because there's so much focus on the wheel. It's like
Forget about
I
everything.
put
I
the
don't even like
video
going
on
in there to
there.
get sandpaper.
you just forget about everything else on the outside world. It's your own little area, your own little space, and you just kind of
Tune everything out.
everything gets tuned out. You got to focus. You don't want to die in there. So, what's your favorite thing you polish? Wheels on the machine?
Fuel
Tanks?
tanks.
You
Fuel
say
tanks are
tanks,
my favorite
Jesse?
things. Yep.
Favorite thing I've polished would probably be hopper bottoms.
Really?
I thought it was really it was
Oh my
cool
God.
to see after we got.
Oh my God.
It was cool, but
Listen,
that
Kyle, I'm
was
sorry. I'm gonna hire this guy today.
Those are pretty cool.
They do
They're
look
pretty
cool
cool
when
to
they're
see
done.
done, but
They suck.
No,
dicks
they're
now.
terrible.
They're sitting there like this after.
I mean, really anything that you polish is cool because it's like instant satisfaction. You know,
Instant gratification. Yeah, 100%.
you can see the results instantly.
It's like one of those satisfying videos, you know.
If it turns out good, it's amazing. You know.
When my wife and I first got married, she'd always like, "Why are you working so much?" I'm like, "Because when the metal's wrong, I know right away. It doesn't. Like, I know how to fix it. Like, when you're mad at me, I don't know how to fix that."
Touche.
But it's instant gratification. That's the best part. I feel like that's what gets everybody hooked. Is it's like you get to see results for your actions right away.
It's extremely rewarding.
It's also very stressful at times.
It can be.
The
100%.
bad part is when the customer shows up and you're like, how do you think it looks? And you just banged out this great job. And like, oh, it looks good.
Oh,
Writes your
God.
check and leaves and you're like,
Just the worst reactions ever.
come on, man.
The worst thing ever is when you polish somebody's steers off the truck and they come pick them up and they just throw them steer side down in the back of their pickup. It's like, what did you just do?
I see that all the time though. Like
Why did I even polish that?
we got a scrapyard that brings us stuff all the time, and when they load the wheels in, they stack them on top of each other. Like they'll stand one up inside of it. I'm like, oh my God, you can't argue
It's
with
like
it.
Warren that brings 20 wheels at a time. They
Yeah.
throw them in the back of that truck back. So.
Flopping around everything just got scratched. I did. There goes that.
So hopper bottoms. Yours?
What?
Your favorite thing to polish?
Favorite thing to polish?
Wheels, tanks, boxes, grills.
I don't know, I guess. I really enjoy diamond plate, but apparently my shit sucks. I thought I was pretty good at it.
So is diamond plate your favorite thing then?
I really enjoy it because that's actually like straight up today, like even the box, like the sides of it. Like
I
those
feel like
bolts
you
turned out
take
great.
most pride in headlights and fuel tanks.
Oh yeah, you get a gnarly fuel tank coming in, you make it shine up. And I'm not about sanding, so like, actually the best time ever, best moment, was when literally he walked over and I got literally the fuel tank done before he even got done sanding, or like at least half of it, probably 3/4 of it. And he comes over and I was like, dude, come check it out. And he's like, what? Comes around. Because I always ask me if it's good enough, which I think it's good enough, but it's like, so I mean, he critiques everything, which is good,
Yeah.
It keeps me going. But when he come around, he's like, oh, that was awesome. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it's probably the best one we've ever done. I'm like, dude, I didn't see it.
Honestly, I don't compliment him very often.
He doesn't at all, which it's cool, like, it's whatever. But like, yeah, he's like my dad, kind of, you know, it's like when he finally says, yeah, you did fucking awesome, it's like, oh.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, appreciate that, you know? But when he came over and he's like, dude, that's probably like the best one ever done. I was like, dude, it took me 20 minutes to do this.
That's awesome.
That was probably the coolest one ever, because I didn't even like sand it, I didn't, he was like, thought I was behind, so I was like,
And I'm on the other side sanding.
yeah, sand it, so I'm like,
But you guys told me today that you guys sand almost everything, huh?
I don't.
We do.
I do.
I don't at all. I will gladly admit that.
Only
There's
sand
time-
when you need to.
In the last
Headlights.
3-4 months, we've gone way
Yeah,
away from it.
yeah. Literally that time when I
You guys
just
sanded everything.
Yep.
We sand everything.
Everything.
Do you think you're still gonna sand everything even after training today?
Yeah, I might not nearly as much of it's as clean as the
We're
truck
gonna
we
kick
did
it back a
today.
little.
Yeah.
yeah, the truck we had in there was actually pretty good shape truck, to be honest.
I
There was a couple-
wanted to have one because we get some gnarly trucks. I wanted to
Yeah.
go find the worst one we had so we could get the most out of this.
That was definitely not the
And-
worst one.
Well, half of them won't start right now.
Normal
We literally had
problems.
to grab the telehandler and lift it up, drive up from all the way over here, going 2 miles per hour, 3 miles per hour, and then park it in our shop. And then try to fix it on top of polishing and detailing and everything. Oh yeah.
So like
We go through some
minor
pieces. But it works
mechanic
out.
work
We get it.
that I feel like I can handle it will do, but not anything super extended.
Yeah.
The salesmen, they think we can do anything.
Literally. It's like,
Go
man.
change a piston in that one out in the parking lot.
Yeah, can we change his starter? It's like, dude, those things weigh like 150 pounds. Second of all, no.
I wouldn't even know where to look. Be like, yeah, okay.
Well, that's like my
It's
boss
right in front
texted
of
me
the
a
driver's
couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, go out to this truck and send me a couple pictures of motor mounts." I don't even know where the hell they are. Like, it's so crammed in there.
But the thing about it is, 9 times, well, probably 8 out of 10 times, we do get it. So when you like put expectations on, and it's next time it's like, fuck, I should have admitted I could do that.
Because now you're giving yourself extra work.
Yeah, literally. Which is cool. I mean,
I do think we are going to cut down on some sanding. I mean, I feel like we sand a lot.
Sometimes it saves some money too. It
We get
saves
some
product.
pretty gnarly trucks in, but we sand a lot.
those little mounts that hold the mirrors on the bottom, right behind the breathers, I guess I take those off. Just
But you don't need to
just
sand
like
it
a
all.
little added touch. No, didn't sand those. Didn't sand the tank. Well, I sanded it 400 and 600, I guess. This
Just
one.
because
Usually,
the pits had some sharp
yeah,
edges on it.
Yeah.
it was pretty. There was some good scratches.
But even then, like I said, I'll a lot of times just spot sand that bottom part where it's all blasted from the stone chips. Like I'll just sand that lower part and.
we did actually. I did learn that.
The rest.
I
is
didn't
all
think you
whatever.
could just do that. I'm like, what? You're just gonna.
I think we were pretty shocked on that aspect of
Yeah.
Being able to spot sand,
being able to spot sand and just not
blend it together.
And on the back of that tank,
Yeah.
that was the biggest. I was like, yeah, you're missing a lot of that.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't
And then
know
all of a
simple
sudden-
degree turn made it like that. Like I
And it
didn't
all blended
know.
together. Like you guys saw
Looked
it.
great.
Even
Right.
after just sanding that spot, the whole back of that tank looks the same.
Yeah.
I just all about pressure and even the angle, you know, because I always go straight up and down, like I said, and it's like
Same.
I still get, you know, trying to green bar. I still got the. I didn't know that just turning it just a tad bit more was gonna
Angles
make
make a
it.
big difference.
Yeah,
For
like
real. On that back of that tank in particular, I was like,
yeah, I was really amazed with how mine turned out. I was like, yo, that
so
was.
I was telling you how I just like scattered that one time and it turned out pretty decent.
Yeah, getting it warm.
But I did
Anytime
it
you
2
get warm.
times. You know, I went ham on it quick for a little bit, just all over, literally all over, and then came back flat, and then I light wheeled it, I guess. But at that, I was like, because I didn't see any lines, you know, until like looked at a weird angle and you could see it. But
I
it's
feel like a lot of times people pick their stuff apart, they look at it at weird angles, like angles that nobody else is going to look at it. Like, a guy sent me a picture one time looking up at a tank like this. I'm like, is the tank mounted in a roof? Like, why are you looking at it down
Gonna crawl on the
there?
ground.
He's like, well, I can see a line right here if I lay on the ground. And I'm like, is your customer going to lay on the ground? Like, why are they looking at it at this
Yeah.
angle? Like I was telling you guys, the light reflection, the way the light reflects, like, if I lay underneath the truck and look out at it, like, I'll pick apart almost any polisher on the planet. Like, you'll find something. If you get on a
Right.
goofy angle and get the light at the right angle, like, you'll find something. It's just the way it is, but
that's a thing we need to learn as like in our aspect of the whole deal, because you get some guys that come in, yeah, I just want a Cummins. I don't care what it looks like. So we got the shiny one over here for $10,000 more. But like he doesn't even look at it. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, but we're sitting here trying to win shows with our own back lot. You know, it's like shit.
pretty. Yeah, it's pretty competent. There's a lot of competition back there.
Yeah, I mean.
It's like your own little truck show. all the time.
Literally, we want this one to look better than the last one, no matter what. But like, when you get that really pretty already good looking truck, like that one, for instance. I mean, that was pretty good shape.
Honestly,
We've had
that
some
truck that we have in
gnarly-
there now, you could have hit with the foam pad and your, what do you call it, Lumi?
the Lumi.
And that would have been good enough to solve a 75%.
Joe Blow down the road on Highway 14. You
Yeah.
know, that's gonna drive it through manure for the next 10 years.
We got a ton of farm trucks over by us to get polished too, so like I said, I try to gauge the customers and figure out what the customer actually wants,
But
not what I
We
want.
don't have any idea who our customer is going to be.
That's
That's
the
the thing.
tough
Yeah,
one.
that's what I was trying to say. Like, we're making it look nice back there.
But the beauty for you guys is like you could upsell it. You know, like
Oh.
put it on the lot at your base polish, and if somebody comes in and is like, you know, I'd really like to buy that, but I wish it had a show polish on it, you can have your salesman upsell it. Be like, listen, I can have our guys throw a
Right,
show polish
right.
on it. We could have them, you know, sand everything out, mirror it out even more than it is. It's gonna cost an extra $4,000.
Right.
And most people are like, yeah, sure, have at it.
And there have been a couple guys that literally come up, and we've had a couple. Actually, the guy in Iowa, he bought one truck from us a few months ago, and it just looked so badass. He was like, okay, I want another one. You know, like I said, we got painters 2 shop down,
Yep.
mechanic over here. I mean, it's like one of those things that he knew it was the easiest act. He didn't have to do a thing.
Yeah.
He knew it was gonna look great. So then me and Tommy kind of took a little extra effort on that one to get it to look that orange truck, just to make it look literally in our eyes perfect.
Yeah.
You know, just to we sanded on the frame more. We took all the time in the engine. You know,
I
just
haven't
little.
done anything that I think is perfect. I'm too picky.
Literally, well, yeah, and that's what I have to deal with usually too.
Honestly, in my 20 years, the amount of stuff that is like what I consider perfect, I can count it on one hand. Like, I'm overly picky in my own stuff.
Right.
And I feel like everybody's their own worst critic. But
Oh, for sure.
I know I am.
I can count on one hand of things I think was like, oh, that was the closest thing to perfection I've ever come.
That's pretty much what it is. You're never perfect. It's like, damn, that looks damn good. You know, like usually better than your last one or what you thought was the last good thing you did. You know, you always want to, like you were saying, you want to better the shop even. Me and him probably have like the craziest work. I mean, the guy lights me on fire sometimes.
Let's just hit on that for a second, because that was funny for me. Like, hearing the fact that he actually lit you on fire was like, that's actually
Literally.
pretty funny.
Literally,
I swear I could have a podcast or a YouTube video on just stupid stuff we've done to other employees. Like,
Oh, we'd have a full episode ourselves.
I was gonna say, if it's not, I'm usually the shit end of the deal because I can laugh at myself sometimes,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and like he's a dork sometimes, but it's like totally in my
Funny
non-benefit.
asshole.
Like, yes, and you know, he'd walk in the shop, big old snowball in his hand. Let's whip it out of hell. Actually, what he does is he plans it with Austin beforehand, our salesman, and they usually come up with some crazy shit. And I'm usually working, is what it is.
I got the best one. It's probably another time that he quit on me. But he had a period where he couldn't get to work on time. He was late. He went through some crappy stuff in his life, and I was hard on him, but he was late, and so I got this idea. There's 4 of us that work here, so I went up to the old dollar
You
store.
fucking asshole. You can say
I
that.
bought 4 little birthday gift bags in that colorful paper you put in them. And I bought an alarm clock, a cheap little alarm clock. And I put it in his bag and I wrote all our names on it. And it was me, Austin, and CJ. I put our names on it and I threw a $100 bill in each one of those. And I made CJ bring them over and say, hey, boss man showed up with some quarterly gifts or whatever for doing good this year.
so everybody got $100 and you got an alarm clock.
So I told him, I said, make sure we open ours before Alec gets his paper out. And Austin was just like, shit, $100. And he opens his and it's an alarm clock. And instantly hucks that thing across the shop and out the door he went. And he's like, oh shit.
Right. Went over with him a garbage can. Like,
I paid
hey,
12
that's a nice alarm clock.
paid $12
Fuck
for
you,
the
alarm
damn
clock.
thing. He hucked it.
So then I walked out and I was upset and I was about to text Dylan and say quit. Literally. And they all came out saying it was a joke. So then I took the alarm clock out of the garbage and threw it across the parking lot. Make sure it broke.
I even bet him $20 that he wouldn't go home and plug it in and send me a Snapchat of it, and he never did. Still owes me $20.
It's in the garbage.
But yeah, that reaction was priceless.
Savage.
That was probably the most savage one. Because I was pissed. I was pissed. Because I knew I fucked it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I knew. I was like, God, I got it straight.
But at the same time, I got my point across.
Yeah, he did. He did. But it was still
That's funny.
savages.
Zach and Parker and Keenan and those guys talked about slinging rouge at each other all the time. Like, you guys gotta stop. Like,
Like, let me go.
Yeah,
yeah, like when they get the little chunks,
he's done that to me too.
just aim them at each other. And
May have done that a couple times.
those things hit you in a temple, it'll kill you. Like,
Me and Jesse just have a problem with throwing tape balls at each other.
oh, tape balls, I'm notorious.
Well, I guess what he does is he just takes the rouge and slings it all at. Like, I'll be working say doing a tank.
If he's over here, I'll go.
Yeah, right at me.
Spray it at 'em.
Blood in my face. I'm like,
I
"Dude,
do
come
that
on."
quite a bit. I can't say I don't.
The starting the pants on fire was pretty hilarious though. I haven't laughed at that one. Cause I knew my pants were getting raggedy. But look what we do for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna go get brand new pants and just come ruin.
I wear them until they're blown up. Like I don't think these pants are gonna make it home. They had a little hole. in
Oh,
the
mine
knee,
are way more gnarly than that.
and I'm like, yeah, I think they're just gonna end up in the trash at the hotel room.
I wore pants that had a ripped back pocket for like a whole week and a half straight.
Or they get caught on the, like when you have the hood flipped up, top handle.
I'm tall enough. I don't have to worry about getting caught on that stuff.
Like the side seam of your jeans though.
Yeah, I don't worry about
Because
that.
they're a foot higher than yours are.
You're tall enough that you can just polish your grill just
Yeah,
like
see,
this.
go the whole way down. But yeah, it sucks. But I don't know. We
We
have
try and
our
make it a little more fun than.
fun these days.
We all know it's a tough and dirty job. Like, and it sucks. It's
The best
not
part
always.
about ours is we've all known each other for, like our boss, he went to high school with him, I've known him for 12 years ago. I would have laughed if he said I was going to work for him.
Same.
And now it's just a
Raced
big
go-karts against him when I was 10.
Really?
And he's a year older than I am. My dad and his dad are best friends. And I would have never. I knew he was going to be successful.
At the same
I
time,
knew he was going to.
It sucks at times though, because it's hard to. You feel like it can be more lenient and stuff, but you don't know how far.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't know
I
where
still
that line
like
is.
when I'm at work and doing business stuff. I still try and be as professional as I can
Right.
when we're talking about business stuff. But at the same time, he's my boss and somebody I could walk up to and hit the nuts.
Yeah.
Laugh about it.
Thought about it.
He's a cool guy. I like working for him. Treats you great too. I mean, that's the cool thing. I mean, like I was saying earlier with family lunches. Every Thursday.
I try to do the same thing with my guys.
It's just
like,
little simple, little things.
It's the little things that count sometimes.
Yeah.
Melissa does every Friday with us. So.
Yeah. It's.
There's been times we call it family lunch. We all takes us out to lunch Thursdays. There's been times we go to lunch and we get playing buck hunter.
We were just talking about
And next thing you know, it's 5:30, and we're all 8 beers deep and not going back to work. It's only happened twice.
That's happening at our shop.
One time I left early.
I don't
and you were
drink,
at
so that
Daryl's
wouldn't happen.
playing it.
Yeah.
I get back to work after I thought I took like 45-minute hour lunch, and I'm like, shit, I'm late. You know, it took too long. I get back and I call Tom. I wait for about 20 minutes. I'm like, yo, where you at? We're at Daryl's playing big with Buck Hunter. I'm like, dude, are you like drunk or not? Oh, we've had a few beers. All right, well, I'm at the shop. It's cool.
That's too funny.
But we get a lot of stuff done too.
Yeah.
I guess I try to break up the monotonous and taking the guys out to eat or going to SEMA.
Yeah.
I've been to SEMA the last 2 years. I wish we could have went somewhere this year.
You did, so we came to Hartford.
Yeah, obviously, we couldn't, so this is our SEMA.
Well, I'm sorry
I
to
told
let
him
you
we
down.
can go to. I told him we can all clean up and go to Grand Falls tonight. 'Cause, you know,
Too big for that.
It's been fun hanging out with you guys. Like, it's nice to just get to see a different side of the world for me. Like, I know I had this conversation with Kyle. I trained a group of people up in Canada, so it's cool to get to go to different areas and get to see the different ways people are doing it. The trucks are always different. Like, some areas get beat more than others, and you guys definitely get beat pretty hard over here. Like I said, gravel roads are rough. Like, I didn't realize how much rougher some of this stuff is over here. I mean, we all have to deal with acid. I mean, that's just a beast that everybody deals with, I feel like. But stone chips are a whole other beast. By us, all winter long, everything gets blasted with salt. So it's like everything's got salt chips in it, but it's nowhere near like the stone chips you guys have here.
Farm trucks
I know,
over here.
I know people put their steers on backwards so that way the gravel road doesn't chew them up as fast.
What?
So
Yeah.
the
Oh, the
steer
tire?
yeah. So the
I've heard
steer
that a number of
wheel,
times. A lot of guys that run a lot of gravel roads run their steer wheels in the reverse direction. We were talking about that today.
Like,
They
what-
wear-
is that why you put that one on back?
They wear better.
Yeah. That's exactly why.
Oh, you're a tiny dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate quietness.
He does.
He gets in his own thoughts. He's just like,
Has that been on this whole time? Oh, really? I didn't even notice it until like just now.
The music cast?
yeah, it's been on since before we even started the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a little background.
I doubt you'll even catch it on the mic.
He's like a producer.
I doubt it. Yeah. It's gotta be pretty loud to catch it. I mean, when I bump the volume up,
I mean,
so
I
we
can
hear
crank it if
everybody.
you want to.
The speaker's right above it. Isn't it? Isn't that one word?
Yeah, maybe.
That one.
Maybe we'll hear. That's funny. I didn't even notice it. All of a sudden, Tiny Dancer comes on.
My jam.
So what's your go-to while you're polishing? I know you said you listen to music. What kind of music do you listen to while you're working?
Oh God.
You know, I'm actually very versatile with my music.
I know you mentioned MGK before.
MGK
Let me
is
just
my
say,
dude.
Eminem's a way better rapper.
Hey,
True story.
true story, though.
I mean, I like them both, obviously. I grew up.
I really don't care either. I just love that.
I can listen to anything from Luke Combs to,
I can't
Tiny
listen to
Dancer.
country.
yeah, to, you know, what,
What's your go-to while you're working?
my go-to?
Rap, hip hop, pop,
I would say
Country.
probably,
hard rock.
Just anything faster paced, really.
I really don't know. Like, I can go from Queen to MGK to Luke Combs.
Okay.
Literally, it's
I'm
like
the same
a,
way. Like I,
So
it
I have
depends on my
Spotify.
mood.
yes, exactly. Spotify, like, I can like all the songs, you know, I love them, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's times where I'll just go to my playlist or my songs, whatever that I liked, and hit shuffle, and this one comes on, I was like, oh, banger.
If people listen
The
to
next
shuffle
one's
on
like-
mine, like they'd go mental. Like I have Mozart, I have
Same.
Tchaikovsky, like I have weird stuff on mine.
See, I would not mind that. You could
all of a
Oh,
sudden
shit,
you'll-
you listen to Mozart, and you're just like,
You
you're
get like
running
a
the
Barbie
fucker.
girl from Aqua or something stupid every once in a while. You're like, what is going on here? What about you guys? Go through music.
If I'm listening to music, it's usually hard rock.
Hard rock?
So I'm more recently, just because of what's been going on in the world and everything like that, I listen to podcasts right now, so I listen to a lot of Tim Cass stuff like that, just because he breaks down what's going on. But
You're a conspiracy
once,
theory person.
yeah, I do listen to listen to a lot of conspiracy theories too, and a lot of So,
terrible.
but overall, I would have to say a
Look up
majority.
Keenan Hubbard. You two would get along great. He loves conspiracy theory stuff. I enjoy it as well. Like I like listening to it, but I don't get myself wrapped into it. Like
So besides, I guess all of that, I'm an old gangster rap kind of
Old
guy.
school?
So I like
Biggie,
a lot of
Pac.
Biggie, a lot of Tupac, older Snoop
You're
Dogg.
the youngest guy in here.
yeah, I like a lot of the old school stuff as well.
A
I
lot
have a
of-
whole playlist just for old school stuff.
A lot of 3-6 Mafia. I listen to
Ooh.
some of
I
those.
got the beat 3-6 Mafia.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. That's really.
Jesse, Taylor Swift.
You know it.
I don't listen to any music while I polish. I don't listen to anything while
You
I
don't listen to
polish.
anything?
Nope.
Really? Just straight headphones? Just in the zone?
Like to pay attention to what's going on around me, I guess.
Really?
Listen to the equipment or, you
Did
know.
OSHA pay you to be here?
Jesse's the most straightforward guy you'd ever meet at work.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Hey, that's nothing at all.
Yeah,
I know.
I guess I went to school for auto body.
Sure.
So my instructor there would allow headphones because
Really?
you know if a rock gets underneath your sandpaper, you know, like
can't hear
wet
it.
sanding or something, you can't hear it.
And it'll mess up your whole entire paint job.
Yeah,
It'll
so
make
I
a
mean,
bad day in a hurry.
I guess that's probably where it came from. Just
Yeah.
I just
It's
don't
like
listen to things.
Austin that was here. Every time he comes in our shop, he turns that freaking radio down, and it drives me nuts. He turns it all the way down, and I always bitch at him about it.
I didn't do that, I know that.
I blame him.
So what do you listen to, Tommy?
Everything,
Everything?
literally.
We're like the same with that aspect, but the thing about it is when he has the radio blaring, it's usually in the wheel machine room, so I can hear it, but all I hear is. It's
Just a
like, oh
faint-
my god, I'm gonna go insane. I mean, I guess
Like
I
on
don't-
Fridays, I like to come in the morning and blast that Rebecca Black Friday song. It's you'll have
Never
to
heard the
listen to it
song
on
before
Friday.
it. That's
It's like a
what she plays.
14-year-old girl singing. It's a pretty good
funny.
jam though. Gets me
Yeah.
pumped for Fridays.
So does everybody Bluetooth earbuds?
Yeah.
Or wired?
I just have that radio.
I did look. So I did used to wear corded headphones, okay, and I never once got them caught. until I hard sanded rims.
Until you did.
Until a week where he caught 3.
And 3 in 1 week, and I said never again. Yeah, because I kept hard sanding the rim, and it would get to a point where I would stop it, because I'm switching sandpaper, but I wasn't paying attention to how close I was getting to my cord, and the air would suck in my cord, and then it would rip out my earbuds through my head, like my earmuffs, man. And it only ever happened when I was hard sanding rims.
Bluetooth earmuffs?
But
My cousin had
they're
those.
not near loud enough.
He had the Mac Tools ones. They were ridiculously loud. Like I'd talk to him like this, he couldn't even hear me. Like it was.
I'm already deaf, so
See that?
like this, I feel like this, how you can hear the radio now is all the louder they would get.
See, I
And then you
can't.
get the wheel machine going on and you don't even hear it.
I can't have both earbuds in because I have to at least be so aware of what's going on around me. Like if
That's
something
me.
were to happen, I can still hear out of one of them. You know what I mean?
I've been wrenches been thrown at me for fucking having both headphones.
He thinks I throw the shit at him, but I throw it at the wall beside him. So
No,
it
you're
makes a
just
noise.
inaccurate and you miss.
That snowball wasn't very inaccurate.
You better be careful with that.
I'm so lucky with it. I've seen he throw.
Whenever
Next
you need to
week
get
you're
his
gonna catch a
attention,
916, it's like right in the dome. And he's
Or
gonna be
because
like, I
our
guess my aim
916
wasn't that
was
bad.
No, it's gonna be a razor blade or something.
Our 916 is always missing, so it won't be that.
next time he's gonna need to get your attention, he's gonna slap the earbuds right out of your head. He's just gonna be like,
What really gets me? He's a welder before I am. So he'll always walk up to the bench and I'll just be getting it done. No headphones at all. All of a sudden, whack! Right on the top of the bench. Fuck! God damn, man. Like, I bet you 3 times a day sometimes.
Good thing you ain't got trigger lock on
And
during
he gets
that time.
bored. He gets bored and doesn't. It's like he just, like, how can I fuck without?
That's why my girlfriend's daughter hates me, because I screw her. Non-stop.
That's funny.
So,
It's fun at work, though. Do you guys have that much fun? You ever get lit on
sometimes
fire?
we just like to throw tape balls at each other whenever we get the chance. That's, I mean,
Get lit on fire, though?
no, we get each other with some horns every once in a while and stuff like that too.
I
bro.
hate trading horns.
Oh, every day. It's Tommy. He'll start out just to give me a thumb.
There was one time he had his back turned, I climbed in the cab on Tasha's side, and I got my Snapchat ready, and I crouched on the floor, and I called him and said, "Hey, can you open the door in that truck in the shop and give me the VIN number off of it?" Okay, he opens the door, and I'm fucking right there.
They're asking for the VIN. So everyone can read the VIN, all of a sudden, Rob!
I expected him to open it and look right at me, but he opens it and doesn't even see me, like right here, and just looking at the VIN, so I just screaming at him.
He's like, you know what he says after that? I was sitting in this cab for 20 minutes, I was fucking here.
Not 20.
Yeah! At least.
So, I don't know if this one would be a good one for the podcast, but I guess I have a thing. I don't know. What's the worst accident that you guys have had polishing? Like,
Probably the worst accident I personally had. I was gone on, I don't remember where I was gone to. I think I was gone to California by Springers. I don't know, I was on a trip somewhere, and it was Keenan, Ty, and Tara working for me at the time, and my sister messaged me, she works in my office, she messaged me, she's like, so Ty went to the emergency room to get staples. So to give you a heads up, everything's fine, just wanted to let you know. And I'm like, you can't just lead in with that. Like, I need to know what happened.
Right.
Like, so I called Keenan, I'm like, what happened? He's like, well, funny story. I'm like, no, it's not going to be funny, I'm sure. Because if he's at the emergency room, this isn't going to be good. And here he was, quarter fender, half fender, whatever. He was using his arm like this to turn the wheels while he was hand polishing. And his hand got stuck in there. And it went, yeet. The corner of the fender just went, sliced him wide open, like deep. So they had to pack everything up, run to the emergency room. He had like 26 or 36 staples in his arm, something like that. It was gnarly, like it was bad. And yeah, by the time I got home, he just had big old staples in his arm, and it was like, that was probably the worst one. I didn't even get to personally see it, because that's the worst thing that's ever happened. Kavan, he did the same thing. He was spinning a wheel like this, and he slit the top of his hand, but he only had like a couple stitches. That was no big deal, but never had anything like major that was like, oh my god, this is terrible.
We've never gone to the hospital.
We haven't yet. Not that really.
I mean, he smashed my thumb pretty damn good with the exhaust.
Really?
Get your thumb out of the way.
Holding the top of the muffler, trying to get it off the flex pipe. And like an idiot, I had my thumb up here and
They gave her hell.
I was yelling at him to freaking lift harder, and it popped off and I don't know what it smashed in. I just let go and I went like this, and he's like, "What's wrong now?" Just blood.
Well, he's like mediocre freaking out because I'm sure it hurt. Like, so once I saw it, I was like, yeah, it hurts. He didn't just like cut his thumb. He like filleted the whole side off it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I didn't. You did.
Get your thumb out of the way next time. Wouldn't hurt if you didn't have your thumb.
Should have done that.
Shouldn't have been.
I got
Exactly.
8 staples, I believe. And then my dome from a bar breaking off in the rim room. Actually, it didn't break off. I was being a cheap ass,
Getting out of your truck after 8 hours of trying to sell a truck.
trying to get all you can out of the rim room, and not. There was like a little chunk left, and it ripped out of my hand and went. And that got me 8 staples. And then I had a buff blow up on me and slice up my legs. And I didn't go to the emergency room for that.
You need to send me that picture, by the way, because I need to add that to my album.
That's
Pretty gnarly.
I actually wrapped my legs with electrical tape and paper
What do
towels.
they call that? A tourniquet?
And finished
Tie you off?
finished buffing out the truck.
You guys
The
did
customer
that,
was
bro.
going to pick it up in like 3 hours, and I'm like,
I would say the worst one I personally did, I don't know if I have ever even shown what these wheels are. I call them flex and blend discs. They're sheets of sandpaper stapled together in like a star pattern. And there's actually like a bald spot right here on my hand that'll never grow hair ever again. But I used to use them a lot on reefer tanks, like the fronts of reefer tanks. Some companies call them sand shapers. They're like, I had a 180 grit one on or a 150 grit one on. It was aggressive. Like these things hurt bad when they kick back. Like they'd fillet you wide open. And I'm sanding the top of this reefer tank, and you know the holes in the bracketry? So that sandpaper got caught in there and it kicked back. And much like, was it your arm that you were showing me? You got a burn on the inside of your arm? Yeah. Much like that sandpaper kicked back, and it was 150 grit at 3,000 RPM, and it just went, and I could instantly see my bone. I'm like, oh, that's not good. But it like cauterized it so fast that like it didn't even bleed. It just like instantly went oily. I'm like, I can see bone. That's not good. So I just went and washed it as best I could and wrapped it right away. That was the worst one I personally ever done.
Same with sandpaper. Did I ever see the picture when I was just using DA with 600. It was like
Like the deepest paper cut you'll ever get.
yeah, that's literally what it happened so fast. My dumb ass put my hand up to stop, like the DA was gone, and I've done it a million times. And like you today with finger hold, stopping the wheel, you know, it's like just instinct. And I stopped, and all of a sudden, like faster than I can think, right across. There's a little scar right there. It looks little right now, but it's
I
big.
just had a little bit of edge on it.
And yeah, it just, and I'm like, oh, and I was working on myself, and I like said, I was like, don't stop, you're saying it. Like, I was like, really gassed it. I saw like fat coming out, and shit. I'm like, ooh, it's like you open a can of Spam and just start
This has
pinching
nothing
out.
to do with the polishing, but when I was building fire trucks, I was welding and with a wire feed welder and spit out a little bit of wire that was still hot, and I just threw it across my lap while I went through my glove and stabbed right into my finger. And I thought, it hurt, but I just wrapped it up and went home that night. My finger was swollen up and it was just pulsing, and it kind of had like it kind of looked like a zit, I guess you'd say. And I wanted that pressure out, so I squeezed it, and like white shit was coming out, and it was my tendon. I was squeezing it out of my finger. And I went to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, you shouldn't squeeze that. Lucky I didn't I thought about grabbing the tweezers and pulling on it, but it hurt so bad.
Could you imagine pulling on your tendon with the tweezers?
Oh, I think as soon as you touch it with the tweezers, you'd stop. I guarantee it. You'd be like, oh,
But yeah, there was so much pressure, I was squeezing it, like, just tendon coming out. What the fuck is that?
Your other finger's going backwards.
Oh, it hurts now thinking about it.
That'd have been brutal.
I know Jesse caught his wrist with a
Yeah, I buffed my wrist doing the back side of a tank. Caught that little two-step
Did you
thing
finish
on the
it
back.
and put color on it?
Just finish it off.
It's trigger lock for the win. I caught it with my wrist. I was like, oh, that's horrible looking. finished the truck. Had my sleeve pulled down, electrical taped, so it wouldn't get
so it
dirty
doesn't get
for the
any
next
dirtier.
2 weeks.
I was wearing a t-shirt. I was wearing a t-shirt for this one.
They almost always get infected. They almost always scar.
I didn't cover it at all. I used a little bit of triple antibiotic when I got home. So I was in Sioux Falls. Actually, I was
his
in Ski.
favorite thing he ever found in a truck was a first aid kit.
Honestly, and it's every time he puts stacks on, I gash your finger sometimes. He literally's like, "You're gonna just end up losing one of these days." You imagine dude coming in the morning, oh, stack day, fucking great. It's like I don't mind doing it, but like it's every time. Like I'll be doing something, I was like, oh, he's like, you lose it yet or something, you know? Like some comment. I'm like, needless to say, I ain't had a bad accident. I mean, I ripped a heating cord out of the truck one time and some lights trying to just doing fuel tanks. But there was one time, I think the worst thing, if I wasn't wearing my mask, probably would have had to have reconstructive surgery on my face.
Yeah.
But I was using the 6500 and I was getting to the top and I was like, I turned it, man, because I was like, look, I'm getting to this top. I know what I got to do. I just wasn't paying attention at the last second. I caught the bottom of the cab and it came up and it hit me straight in the face shield, the whole handle and all. And I mean, I trigger lock for the win, like Jesse said. Like I was holding it and it went whap. And I was like,
handle
whoa.
will get you every time.
Yeah, I was so scared after that. Like I turned it off, I took off my mask and I was like, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Every time something stupid happens, I'm like, oh God, I gotta find a mirror to make sure I'm all right. Like,
yeah.
Did I lose something?
I thought for sure I cracked my whole face shield as soon as I hit that mask. I thought I did for sure. I was like, oh no. The most satisfying thing I learned from Twiddle over there was when you get something in your eye and you take a little piece of toilet paper and roll it up and you just really fish it out. Like a little black piece of felt or something from the wheel.
It just strings
Satisfying. Yeah, just like, it's like.
I do not miss not wearing a full face respirator.
I need to wear them.
Really?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because I remember like I could see the string in my eye one time. I could see it and I was like, I gotta get this out. And like I finally got a hold of it and I started pulling and it was like, whoa. Whoa. It was like a foot out from my face and I was like, I could see it. I'm like, it's still coming out, and finally it was like 18 inches, 20 inches long. I was like, that was a long piece of string. How it got in there, I have no idea.
I'm talking like millimeters long.
Yeah, this thing was like 18, 20 inches long.
You know what else is satisfying? Getting a piece of aluminum in your finger and watching the whole thing just come out of your skin as you're taking the tweezers to it. That's always satisfying, and the feeling doesn't get much better than that.
Every time I take a wheel off the machine and somebody's like wire wheeled the bead, you always get the little wire, stuck. Oh, I hate getting them stuck in your hand. Like that's the worst because they're just fine enough that like irritates your finger for like 3
I'll take
days.
a wheel hotter than hell off the machine. He'll be sitting in the stool, I'll go touch it with his arm. So it's hot.
See what I'm saying?
It's nice on a cold day.
It's hot. That's funny.
Yeah, just
Or when somebody unexpectedly picks it up and then drops it right outside their room because it's so hot.
I get people try that all the time. They're like, I'm like, don't touch it. It's hot. They're like, oh yeah, it can't be that hot. They'll walk over and grab it like, whoa.
well, it's always back here, like the most
In the
sensitive
soft spot.
Yeah. It's like, no, it's not hot. What do you expect? You're wearing gloves. It's ice cold. Don't talk to her like that.
What's that?
So tell her you're at sea.
Tell her you're at SEMA. All right, so usually the ending, I usually let you guys ask me some questions, whatever. I always tell everybody anything but religion or politics, but I will wrap some stuff into religion or politics. Like I try not to talk about other product companies, that kind of stuff as well. But pretty much ask away. I'll try to be as open book as possible.
It's the coolest truck you've done. Oh, that's a big last question. Very second.
I shouldn't say I don't have coolest truck, because I do. I just try not to let anybody know that one. But
it's hidden secret right now.
well, no, I just don't want people to play. You don't really want people to play favorites.
Oh no, okay. What's the most satisfying truck you've done? Like where you like literally just like
Probably the best truck he's on, they don't want to tell you.
well, no, that's different. I mean, you get done with
trucks, and it's like that's pretty good, you know. But like you get that
somebody
one truck.
transform big time.
That's not, okay. Yes, that's what I mean. Like where it came in, like looking like that piece of wood, and you made it look like you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I will say, like, some of my favorite trucks out there, Joel Dawes' white and green truck, his Peterbilt that he built. I got to drive that down to Indy one year. That truck's really nice. I love the color combination. It's just two cool colors. His truck always comes out really nice. It's got old aluminum on it. It always polishes out super nice. So I really enjoy Joel's truck. I like Thompson's truck. That gray and the green is super cool. I've been really blessed with getting to do a lot of cool trucks. So it's
Would
hard
you rather
to,
do, okay, on that question, would you rather do something coming in horrible and getting it satisfied,
Honestly,
or a
yeah.
truck coming in?
I love my show truck guys, but I love doing my work trucks. The work trucks is what I enjoy doing.
Yeah, that's
Like,
yeah.
I don't want to say they're more grateful, but I feel like my local farmers and stuff, they just like to see stuff shine.
Mhm.
So it's,
Yeah, show
Not
truck
used
is
to it.
already probably shiny enough for 80% of people. And you gotta try and
in
make,
most show
Right.
trucks,
try and make good better.
Yeah.
you're taking good and making it better, and most of those guys are like, it's still polished. You know, where a lot of your farm guys are bringing you something nasty and it turns out really nice, and they're like,
How did you do
they
that?
come in super happy.
Yeah.
There's big smiles, big laughs. They're all just, I enjoy that stuff a little more. But I love working on show trucks too, because it's fun. It's a nice way to break up the year. Yeah, favorite truck. I don't think I
You
can
don't
tag
have
it to
you don't
just
have to say
one,
favorite trucks. I get it.
but
I-
Joel's
I don't
truck's
have
up
a
there.
favorite truck even. Really, I don't even have. I don't think I have a favorite truck even, and I've done like 150 of them. I mean, it's 100 of them.
I always separate out the different worlds that I live in too, like the lifted truck world from the semi world. Like we do a lot in both.
Oh yeah.
Or like lifted truck seems easy answer for me. Big Willie and Craig Hurd from Hurd Built. Those two were like the
You're
top two
talking
builds
like
I'd
just
ever.
regular trucks that are lifted.
Lifted trucks, yeah. I mean,
Don't they just buy those wheels like that and put them on for a show?
sure, some do, yeah. But like Big Willie, his truck, there's nothing untouched on that thing. Like he thought through everything in that build. Hurd Built, he did the same thing. Every piece of that truck got touched, it got chromed or repainted or whatever. And those guys actually like thought through how they wanted to build it, that kind of stuff. So it was nice to see in the lifted scene like what our show truck guys do in the show truck world. Because the semi world is crazy. Like you start getting at the show level, like the builders class stuff. Those guys are building some crazy,
Yeah,
crazy
insane.
stuff.
It's crazy.
It's hard to pick.
Like those Diesel brother guys, even they did that 4-door.
They built some cool stuff.
They built some badass stuff, but they did that semi.
Yep.
Just murdered out. They had like $350,000 in that
I
truck.
did not like the black rims on it.
I do not like black rims on almost anything.
Nope.
Like,
I'm a chrome.
They
I'm an aluminum
Well, like
shiny
a
kind of
car,
guy.
it's
Power
fine.
is one thing.
But like on
I
a
wanna
semi,
black
it
that
just doesn't
semi
look
out.
right.
It
Really
doesn't
bad.
look just
Crazy.
one I want to black out.
But we want to
I'm
do
a
the
chrome.
we want to do the shadow chrome, not
like the black chrome.
yeah. It's a little
I don't know.
shadow. No.
Just doesn't look
It's not
right.
for me. It doesn't do anything for me.
I'm a shiny chrome guy, man. God, a shiny.
I like shiny. White and shiny,
Yeah.
that's my wheelhouse.
I'm opposite. Black.
Murder everything else.
But you also raced your whole life, so it's like you didn't want to clean it.
I had the cleanest car.
Well,
in the
I
game.
mean, it's easier to clean black.
That's
than it
actually
is.
why our little thing exists. Because he told Dylan, well, you should start your own. And Dylan and Austin sat down and went to lunch one day and talked and like, well, who could we have do it? And Austin was like, well, Tommy's the most anal fucker I know. He's like, and, you know, his race cars are always super nice and everything's, yeah, he's anal. So then I get a call.
OCD,
Yeah.
definitely, for
So
sure.
I get a phone call and I go to lunch and now all of a sudden I'm changing careers. And it's probably the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Even though I love TIG welding and whatnot, but it's so much nicer being my own boss.
Yeah.
It's awesome having him as my boss too.
Except for those days where he sits in his car.
For 8 hours selling trucks.
All right, what's the next one?
My question to you is where do you see yourself in 10 years? I know we talked about it a little bit.
I talked about it in the last podcast too. I told my wife I'd like to have a shop within. If I didn't have a new one built, a bigger shop built by the time I was 40, I would abandon the dream and just make it work until I retire. So we're trying to make that happen still. I'd like to expand my product line and be able to offer more to the polishing industry. I feel like a lot of products don't really get tailored specific to the trucking industry. I feel like a lot of companies do that and then they kind of branch off and lose sight of where that started, you know. The trucking industry, it's a completely different industry. You can't compare it to a lot of other industries. Like trucks put on miles that most cars don't see in a lifetime. Most of these lifted trucks don't see ever. Like they'll never get to the mileage that these semis get in a year.
In a year, yeah.
So it's like the products have to be a little different. They gotta hold up better in harsher conditions and be able to withstand stuff. So I'd like to be able to expand into what I'm doing in that department. We're actually in the product development stages of some show quality polishes right now. I'm hoping to have them released by this coming year, Louisville. Knock on wood, God willing, it happens. Hopefully COVID disappears pretty soon here. We're developing a brown and a green compound that are less abrasive. So like trucks that are already nice, to make them next level nicer. So products that I've been using for over a year now, we'll be able to push into the industry. I am a little nervous that people are going to buy these bars thinking they're going to be able to take a junk truck and turn it into a show truck because we're calling them show bars. But I'm hoping with the right marketing we can get people to understand that it has to be a nice truck already before you polish with this, because it's not going to be very abrasive. It's just going to be show quality stuff, like being able to eliminate hash marks a lot easier. The show quality polishes, the brown will probably go with a yellow wheel and the green will probably go with a white wheel. It's just going to be higher end stuff. We're just finishing the development stages on that. I got a couple polishers testing stuff for me right now so we can make sure that we're able to replicate what we're doing in other areas. But I'd like to grow the product side. I enjoy developing products. I enjoy being a part of all of that. So for my 10-year plan is to get into a bigger shop, be able to expand my product line. I'd like to keep the YouTube thing going as long as possible. I feel like that's been a fun outlet for me to kind of break up the work side. What a lot of people don't see is I actually have a YouTube video coming out in maybe like a week or two that I literally took a GoPro and vlogged my day. Like I wanted people to see what my day looks like. Like literally from the time I get up in the morning, it's business. So the time I go to bed at night, it's business. Like business doesn't shut off when I go home. It doesn't shut off at all. And I polished a fuel tanker truck while up during that day. So I posted a time-lapse video the other day on my Instagram. That video is part of the longer video of what my day looks like. I start off the morning answering emails and all that stuff, checking orders, making sure everybody gets responded through text message or DMs or Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, like all the social media platforms get responded to as much as I can in the morning. And then I go out into the shop, go on in our polishing trucks, doing whatever we got to do for the day. And that day was like, I started at 6 o'clock in the morning, I walked out my house door. I didn't walk back in that night until like 10 or 11 o'clock that night. So you literally see my entire day. I'd like to get more into the boss role at some point in time. Like I'd like to have a big shop that I can kind of oversee. That's my 10-year plan, is to get out of the shop and polish when I want to, not because I have to, because there's nobody else there to do it.
My other question to add on to that, do you think you'll be actually polishing yourself in 10 years? Because you just said tie into that, because the rumor, I would say rumor, everybody says it's so hard on your body. You've been polishing already for 20 years. You think your body can take 10
I will
more
say-
years of actual polishing?
I know a lot of polishers that are 70, 80 years old that are still polishing. They're not doing the quantity that we're doing anymore. A lot of the techniques I showed you guys today, propping your arms up on your legs, that kind of stuff, has really saved my back. So, like, if you'd asked me 5 years ago if I'd still be polishing in 10 years, I'd have probably said no. Like, I thought I was going to be dead by now. But now that I'm, like, figuring out better ways to do things, I'm not getting so beat up anymore. So, I think I can polish for another 10 years. I want to be able to physically step out of the polishing completely by 55. So that gives me 17 more years. And I honestly think I can probably polish for another 17 years and not be too fatigued and blown out that I won't want to live out the rest of my life, you know?
Actually be able to walk and still maybe play baseball with your kids.
How old are your kids?
My oldest is 10 and my youngest is going to be 7 this month.
Or your grandkids or
Yep.
whatever.
Do they have any part in the future, you think?
They come to the shop. They literally, all the labels that are on our products, 90% of that's my kids. They label all of our products for us. My daughter, my oldest, is showing some interest in wanting to run it. I keep telling her, like, you can run it, but I want you to run the office. Like, I want you to go to business school, get smart so you can do the marketing, you can do that kind of stuff, and I'd rather they work on that side. My little one, she's a big time daddy's girl. She'll probably be in the shop at some point in time. And I wanted a boy. We swung and missed twice, and the business was like raising another kid on its own. I went and got fixed because I felt bad. Like, I didn't see, my oldest is 10. Like, the first 7 years of her life, like, I was just buried in the shop. I didn't really get to spend a whole lot of time with her. Like, I did when she was little, but as she got bigger, like, I just didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with her. And then when we had the little one, like I said, she'll be 7 here end of the month. I didn't get to see her hardly at all. And it wasn't until COVID hit that I actually, like, started spending time at home, and I was like, well, I just need to start spending time at home.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I've sacrificed a lot for my shop too. I mean,
Yep.
I completely understand it. My wife would.
We scheduled birthdays around polishing trips. Like, it's funny, like, my wife, she'll never let me forget it, but our first kid, we went in on like a Wednesday, and we were supposed to, that was her due date. And I had a big polishing weekend booked that weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a whole fleet we were supposed to get done. And I'm like, you know, I know you're not fully in labor right now, but if we induce today, you'll be out by Friday, and I can go work this weekend. Like, it's a big money weekend. And she's like, okay. And yeah, we got home, and my show car burnt up, and I lost my garage. And I didn't end up working that weekend anyways. I think it was somebody higher up trying to tell me that I need to slow down a little bit, but we didn't. And then when we had our second one, she worked for she took her 3 months off for having the baby, and then she went back to work for like a month or two, and we had some babysitter issues, and I finally just said, why don't you be a stay-at-home mom? Like, I'll just work harder, I'll figure it out. And I did. And then yeah, it just escalated to the point of, let's schedule birthdays around this. Or
I have one last question. Knowing now, since you met both shops or whatnot,
Who's the best polisher, me?
these guys
Let's cut to the
being
chase.
these guys being friends in their shop, knowing each other, brought in other people around them, knowing that they might not be talented or whatever have you, or whatever word you want to use for that, and me just bringing in randos and throwing out a fishing line and hoping, would you bring in more of your people around you the more you grow, or would you just hire people that are already involved in that world? Or
I say, in the 20 years of my experience, don't be picky. Like, I don't care if it's family or if it's somebody from outside. If you find anybody that wants to do this,
There's not a lot of people that want to get this dirty every day.
train them and get them to stick with it. Like, that's the hardest part. Like, I don't care if you're family or your friends or you're just a random guy off the street. Like, if they're coachable, trainable, and want to work, I don't care who you are. Like, one of my cousins worked for me. I'm like, listen, when we're outside of work, like, we are best friends, we're cousins, but when we're at work, I'm the boss, you're the employee. Like, I hate it to be that way, but it's like,
Have to.
The days, there's a lot of days where it has to be sometimes, you know? So it's like, I find it's harder for family to understand when shit hits the fan that sometimes it's their fault and you gotta come down on them for it, because it is harder. Like, I love my sister to death, but there's some days where it's like, I come down on her and then she's mad at me because I was a dick. It was like, as sad as it is, I understand you're my sister and I love her to death, but there's still some times where I'm her boss, and that's hard. Whereas if it's just a random person off the street, sometimes I'm like, yeah, it wasn't so bad. Like, sometimes you just gotta come down on somebody.
That's the hard part with our whole.
Yeah.
That's what I mean is you have experience with.
But he also told me right from the get-go, because me and him have known each other over 10 years, easily, 15 years maybe. Not even just as friends, like, or, whatever. And he told me right off the bat, he's like, yeah, but I don't want our friendship to get fucked because of this.
Yep.
There's days where I'm like, I don't want to see you again. You're dead to me? No. But then there's some days I walk in, dude, guess what happened last night?
Yeah.
Like, we have our ups and downs, but I think that's like a work environment.
I feel like
anyway.
you even build that even when it's random people.
Yeah.
Like when you spend the amount of time that you do, like we do in this industry, you end up becoming friends with whoever you're working with.
Yeah.
Like that is the hardest part.
I see in my family.
Literally same. I have a daughter. I mean, it's me and my daughter usually.
These two bunked up with
split.
each other and see them.
I was like Ty. I mean, I didn't know him from the next guy, and he just happened to come into work because somebody else I had working there, and they were friends. He came to work for me, and like when he quit, dude, it devastated me because like I treated him like one of my own kids. It was devastating to have him just up and quit, and it was all. I came down hard on him one day, and it was just too much for him. Like, I don't mean to be that way, but like sometimes I feel like I'm very lenient, and sometimes that gets taken advantage of.
Get too lenient.
And when it goes in sideways, sometimes I just bark back because it's like it went in sideways.
I'm starting to see that side of it too, because he's a total keypad warrior. He's afraid to say it to my face.
It's a lot easier for me to get everything I need to say in a big long text than to sit here and try and say it.
And I'm the complete opposite. I'm like,
I'm very
I'll talk to you
confrontational.
tomorrow.
I'd rather get it out in the open with you.
Yeah.
Deal with it right here and now and get it done and over with.
Like, say what you chest.
I'll get too worked up and I won't get everything I need to say, so I need to sit there and think about what I'm saying. Say, do I really want to say this to you? And
it's like 5 minutes after I leave sometimes, like, bro, I just left the shop.
Sometimes you can appreciate that too, though. Cause
I get it, because I could see he's very laid back. There's times where I probably do take a little advantage of him. I'm not gonna lie. I'll admit it. And run camera now. You've got the best time.
two cameras.
Like, 2 of them, exactly. There you go, Kelly, I said it. But there's times where it's like, dude, I kicked ass today, and you're gonna, so it's like.
Like I said, I rarely tell them good job or anything.
I try to pick and choose my battles.
Right. Or it's, dude, I could literally see if you like me on fire. No, sometimes it's like.
We can release 2 versions of this podcast. I can release the unedited one.
Listen, I don't edit these things, so you're gonna get what you get. I'm gonna have to put explicit on this one. Most of our other ones, like we managed to find a way to not curse, but I figured once you get in a group like this, it just doesn't. There's no way to get around it.
That's really good.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, so I guess I got a question. What's some advice that you would tell someone who wants to become successful, but is also as well at it? So I guess more or less a basis of me just thinking about in my position.
From an employee standpoint?
Trying to become successful because at some point, I do want to own a business or do something with my life to where I'm not piss poor broke until I'm fucking 90 years old and my daughter has nothing. Like, but that's the situation. Look, man, I had a kid young. I'm 23 years old. Yeah. Like, I had a kid young. Now I'm regretting it. Not that I don't love my daughter. Obviously, I don't regret the fact that I had a kid. I regret the fact that I had a kid so young.
Yeah.
Because now, first of all, I didn't have money to begin with, and now any money I do have is gone.
I feel like that's a tough area.
So my question is, what's some advice that you would give to somebody trying to become successful or wanting to become successful and still yet trying to spend enough time with their family to where their family doesn't hate them or disown them?
I feel like that's a gamble. Like to have both You know the old saying, like, have your cake and eat it too? You can't. Like, you something has to be sacrificed. I haven't found a recipe to not sacrifice something to get ahead. Like, no matter what you do in life, and as I'll age myself, I'm 38. I can tell you in 38 years, I haven't found any shortcuts in life. Like, I know some people that caught lucky breaks, but it's like, I still hustle every day. Like, I'm out in my shop polishing every day, and everybody wants to own their own business. And I will tell you, if you don't want to sacrifice family time and you don't want your family to resent some of that, don't start a business. Like, seriously, that's not, owning a business doesn't mean you're going to have just money falling out your hindsight just because you own your own business. Like, I sacrificed, like I just said, I sacrificed a ton of stuff, a lot of time with my family, and there was trips my wife and kids went on that I stayed home because we needed the money. It was like we just had to hustle to get where I wanted to be.
But you felt good letting them go, though.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I mean, it's like
my wife and kids.
My
kids get a great life.
Yeah,
like,
that's the coolest reward.
My kids got all kinds of toys.
Yep.
All kinds of, like, they got 4-wheelers, dirt bikes, all kinds of
There's
stuff.
always a sacrifice.
I just feel
But the
like
reward-
sometimes I sacrifice being away from my family, you know, like right now, for instance, still being gone, you know, and sometimes, man, I'm not even gonna lie to you, sometimes there's some days where I'm just sitting here and it's like, what am I even doing this for? Like, I can't afford nice stuff. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I can't afford it. What am I doing this for? Like, why am I doing this? I'm working every day to what? Essentially be broke, barely pay my bills. My daughter's not going to have a better life than what I had growing up. That's how I feel.
I feel like we've gotten to a point in society where we have a lot more than what, like, I'm only 38 years old, and I always remember, like, my grandpa and my dad telling me stories about how they had it when they were a kid, and I always feel like every time I hear somebody talking, I fall into that same thing of, like, you have no idea, like, everybody's got Xboxes or iPads or nice cars and stuff now. Like, I grew up in just shit boxes. Like, it's just how it was. Like, you have a nice car you get back and forth to work with. And
Wouldn't say it doesn't have its fair share of problems, though.
well, no, everybody's vehicle does. You know, but like, I don't know. I would say the side hustle is probably the biggest thing you could do. Like, if you wanted something to get yourself ahead right now, as stupid as it sounds, TikTok or YouTube, like, or flipping stuff on eBay. Like, I know a lot of guys that flip stuff on eBay. Like, they go to thrift shops, buy coffee mugs, or they go and buy stuff that they know they can sell on eBay. They'll buy it 50 cents or $1. They'll sell it for $5. Like, it sounds like not a lot of money, but if you sell 20 mugs a week, it's an extra $100 a week, and that's cash in your pocket.
It's the
You know?
perseverance of it.
TikTok. Like, I was telling you guys, my Nebraska franchise, like, you told me the other day, you made $30 in one day off of video. Like, just post it up.
Well, this one's bringing us in, so we're gonna be set in about
This one?
as fast as you
I'll
can.
cut you guys royalties on this one. But it's like your side hustle. Just because you go home from work every night at 6 o'clock, from 6 o'clock until what time do you go to bed?
Late.
Midnight, 1 o'clock?
I'd say about 11:30.
So by the time you get showered up, 7 o'clock?
Yeah, then I
So-
gotta eat dinner.
So from 7 to 11:30, what time does your kid go to bed?
Now that she's getting to that age where she doesn't really want to fall asleep that well, I'd say about 9:30, 10 is about the time that she's starting to fall asleep. And that's if we can get her to bed by 10 o'clock.
And what about your girlfriend?
Hey, she's
still
up till
up.
I'm
She's
up.
still up when you're up.
Yeah.
So if you can figure it out, 2 to 3 nights a week, just take that extra hour or 2 hours from when your kid goes to bed till the time you want to go to bed, and just do something side hustle wise. Just find yourself a side hustle, whether it's
Not
Well-
selling drugs.
not drugs,
You can make a lot of money doing that.
Hey, I'm just saying.
but get into TikTok or get into Instagram or something, and just get yourself a side hustle. Spend 2 hours, 3 days a week. It's only 6 hours, but that 6 hours adds up pretty fast.
I feel like you'd kill the TikTok game.
The thing is, man, I've heard so many rumors about TikTok that I don't even know if it's worth it, man.
Well,
It's-
quit with the conspiracy. It's just-
Hey, no, you know, I didn't even like that though. It's just, you know, the thing is like I said, like, I don't know, it's hard for me to really decipher what I want because I don't want to be filthy rich. I don't want to have $1 million, but then
listen,
not have a family.
That's a
you know what
lie.
I mean?
We all want to be filthy rich.
Yeah, but I really don't. I just want a better life for my daughter than
I
I had, and I want I
would you
don't
feel
want
bad
to
about it?
worry. See, my thing is I don't want to worry about
You
money.
just told me yesterday you turned down $1 million.
For an Airstream, yes, yes, I would. You could not pay me $1 million to do an Airstream. I'm telling you.
I'd do
know,
an
it's-
Airstream for $1 million.
it's
But if somebody offered you $1 million for nothing, you'd take it.
I mean,
If it was easy,
somebody
everybody-
offered me $1 million for an
I said for
Airstream,
an
I'd try my
Airstream.
damnedest.
Do an Airstream for $1 million.
I'd try my damnedest for it, you know, like.
Exactly.
But
I'd
needless
take
to
it
say,
for free too.
Everybody
Oh,
wants
wow.
to be in a better position than they're in. And I'm telling you, with social media, as easy as it is to do things outside of what you're already doing, it's easy to create external streams of revenue. Like, you guys work on cool trucks all the time.
I don't feel like any of us are as bad as a lot of people are.
A lot of people. So just take a video of whatever you're working on for the day. One video every day of whatever you're working on. Before and afters, do tutorials, whatever, how-tos, like how to clean a seat, how to do whatever. And just post it. Like, even if not a lot of people watch it, or not a lot of people subscribe to it, like TikTok, it'll start paying. Like, it may only be $50 a month for a year. But all of a sudden, maybe one video goes viral, and now all of a sudden you got a whole ton of followers, and it picks off, and it starts just snowballing.
We could just like duet. Like he could be our Gordon Ramsay.
hey, there we go, perfect.
Like, yo, Gordon Ramsay, check it.
Just dudes sitting there yelling at us because we're not
Check
polishing,
this
right?
tank out.
And that's what I mean, is like, those are the simplest things you can do to create external streams of revenue. Like, I try to monetize everything in my life. I mean, literally everything I try to monetize. Anything that can be monetized is monetized in my life.
Maybe you're just a really smart dude.
I'm not even really that smart.
I feel stupid. Like, I'll be honest with you, I just don't feel like I'm
feel
smart enough to
stupid.
do
Don't
that.
take it like that. I'm just saying, like, there's people out there, like my brother, for instance. He could sell a turd to a toilet. Straight up.
He's not lying.
Like, he literally,
He can flip anything. So.
anything. He could sell a solo cup for $20 on eBay. It's nuts. But here I'm like, I want to buy my shoelaces.
Yeah, right. Like,
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know where to start. That's
but
the
at the
thing.
same
It's
time,
I
like,
don't
he
know.
started, he just did it.
That's the thing.
Did
Like,
it.
That's what he was saying is they took the sacrifice.
Yep.
Took-
Literally.
Are you willing to sacrifice 6 hours
did
of
it.
your week to try and build a side
I
hustle?
bet you he's
It wasn't
working right
even-
now on this truck.
when he made the decision, just like I made the decision to go out on your own, you thought you knew something. And
I started my business with a $200 paycheck when I left the truck wash. Like, I had literally $200 that I went to the bank and cashed it so that I could go and buy polishing supplies.
Well, that's where they say 90% of stories that start out with something like you just said are very successful.
Because
It's
I
'cause
didn't know any
you
other way.
have to.
Straight up. Like,
You have to grind. I mean, you have to take. You're hungry. You have to do whatever you can to make money.
you gotta grind.
He said literally.
Literally. Yeah, you have to because you're hungry. I mean, if you don't go to work, if you don't work till midnight, 2 o'clock, or even around the clock, you're gonna starve.
So you did it the right way too. You worked at a truck stop.
For me,
And
it
like,
was like,
you did that on this, you know, you,
Yeah.
like you said, you worked 16 hours a day.
yeah.
You know, you did your job.
And then I still
And
went
that
and
was your
polished after
part-time
my
job.
job.
So then you were like, I got clientele. Fuck this dude. That's not giving me what
I just
not
always,
what I think I deserve. You know.
I always forced myself to hustle. Like,
Yeah, literally. Like,
I
you
always
did.
like found something else that like I wanted or I needed, or was like, I always forced myself to level.
Hot blaster.
Once I learned I had to sacrifice something to get it to level up, like that was the hard.
Shout out to on some parties. And right behind, right behind that Italian place there.
Yeah, I know.
Dude's like, where are you staying? I've had massive parties there.
No, it was a bad actually. I don't want to talk about it, especially.
We've all had bad hotel party nights.
No, that was a bad night. That night. Oh my god.
Well, like I said, it's just all about sacrifice. Like, if you want one, something else is gonna hurt. Like, there's a yin and a yang to everything. Like,
Literally.
and everybody tells you there's a shortcut. There isn't. Like, it's straight hustle. Like, if you're selling drugs, you're risking going to jail. There's a yin and a yang to everything. If you're hustling, there's a chance that your family's gonna leave you or they're gonna resent you for doing it. like I said, I'm very fortunate. My wife's very understanding. My kids are kind of understanding. My oldest, she understands that I go on the road a lot. My little one, like me being home this year. Last year I was gone for, I want to say 12 days for Dallas last year. All of a sudden she turned into a daddy's girl, and now she doesn't want me leaving anymore. Like, I told her I was coming on this trip. She's like, Dad, I wish you could just stay home all the time. I'm like, oh my God, like it kills me. At the same time, it's like, one of her friends was over at her house, and she's like, you guys must be rich. Like, no. Like, we live a very good life, but we're not rich by any sense of the term. And she's like, well, I get all these nice things because my dad works really hard. Like, that's
cool,
my,
she says.
my 6-year-old knew that.
That's a cool
like,
feeling.
It's awesome that my kids,
You have two
I've at
daughters,
least
right?
gotten them to understand the fact that the reason we have nice things is because I work really hard for it. And nothing's given to you.
That also like sets like, so I have a daughter obviously too. Like, I'm not saying I'm the best dad out there, but I mean, if my kid, she's a total dad joke. But I have fun with her. I treat her like one of the dudes. Like, what's up? You know, like, she's cool. But like, if she said that, it's like even like
It's a good feeling.
down the road, like when she looks for a guy, or husband, boyfriend, whatever, it's like you better be on your toes, getting shit done. You know, like that's
I don't know if
You already jinxed that.
There ain't even
Set an
gonna be no husband or anything like that. Nah, don't even try.
What'd you call that? Because after this.
That's got to be a good story.
That's shit. You can bring it up. Sick with your chest. It's probably really mean.
Jesse and Tommy, you guys are the only ones left.
For what?
Questions. Question of the day. Blue or purple? Says your eyes gonna look like after this.
I guess if you could go back like 25 years, would you do anything different?
13.
There you go.
Like, could I take the experience I have now? Or am I just going back? Am I going back and talking to myself? Or am I going back and just starting over?
Maybe going back and changing something?
I guess either or.
If I could go back and tell myself some stuff, I would fill myself in on life. Like a lot. And that just came with age. Like
2020 sucks.
you can't get that. Like warn myself about 2020 and 2005, like, 2007. Like there's some key years you're gonna want to sleep through.
Save some
Like
extra money for these years.
Alright. Stock market's gonna crash. Oh wait. Save money.
Yep. But no, if I had to go back, I would do it all over again. I regret a little bit not starting my business earlier, but at the same time, like I feel like my business needed that time to build before I left the wash. I needed that momentum going, and it helped me build confidence. Like me quitting, putting in my 2-week notice, and him acting the way he did, like gave me that extra momentum to make sure I made it happen. You know, so. I don't know, I don't think I'd change anything. I wish things happened better in certain situations. I wish some things didn't work out the way they did. But I feel like all those things have molded me into what I am. So I don't think I'd want to change those just because I enjoy who I am right now. I learned a lot of very hard life lessons by living through them instead of watching other people.
School of hard knocks.
It was school of hard knocks for sure. I mean, I've had some things that knocked me down pretty hard that I thought I'd never come back from, and here I am. I feel doing better than I was. Everything I've done has moved forward. I've sidestepped a lot, but I've always moved. I always tell people, like, not everything you have to do has to be a forward step. Just don't sit in the same spot too long. And I feel like my entire life has either been forward. I've had some fallbacks, but I've had a lot of side steps too that I was like, ooh, I need to dodge this, step over here for a little bit, wait for that to pass, and then continue moving forward.
Did you ever think that you would be sitting in here in general or
Sioux Falls, South Dakota?
No, not in here, but like teaching people. You know what I mean?
Honestly,
like, you didn't go to school to be a teacher. You know,
No.
did you ever think like 20 years ago, whatever, that you'd be like, I'm gonna teach dudes how to do this someday, or
No.
women, whatever. You know, whatever.
This all just happened because...
Did you know any girl polishers?
Girl polishers? I know a lot. Actually, I've had a bunch work for me.
He had a
Yeah.
polisher that had no legs.
Really?
No, he had legs.
Legs or something.
That's on the right field.
Platte River Sales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He was in a wheelchair.
That's what it was.
He called me and wanted to train. And I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. I got him on the schedule, and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm in a wheelchair. And I laughed. I'm like, you're polishing from a wheelchair. He's like, his name's Sanford Kane. He's like, no, seriously, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm like, how the hell do you polish? He's like,
Put the brakes on.
he's like, I do. He's like, I figured out ways to do it. And I'm like,
They can figure out how to do anything.
What if it kicks back?
I'm like, holy shit.
Hey, they're still.
Oh, dude, it pulled him right out of the chair.
They're still.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Like,
terrible,
that's
yeah.
it. So when he came to get trained, like I built jigs just to train him. Like I didn't know what else to do because I was like, I don't know what to do. So like
keep them safe on your own end. You know.
doing a box, I was like, so how do I keep you from falling out of your chair? He's like, if I grab an edge, it's gonna yank me out of the chair, and I'll get back up and get in the chair again. And it was like, he was just such an awesome dude. Sanford's a really nice guy, like, and he's very talented.
Struggles are real.
Very talented polisher, and polished from a chair. Now he just sold his wheel machine, and he's working for his brother in sales because his body just couldn't handle it. I mean, being bent over like this without leg muscles and controls, like he just got beat up every day. So he couldn't do it anymore.
That's what I was kind of wondering, like if they were to like try to get underneath, you know, like.
But I didn't expect to be a teacher. Like it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people that were hitting me up, just asking a ton of questions all the time. And then I had a couple friends that were polishers that were like, you should just run a training course or something. And I'm like, yeah, okay, who the hell would come to that? So like when people would call and ask me a ton of questions, and I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about offering a training course. And all of a sudden some people were like, oh my God, yeah, I would pay to do that. Like, okay.
How many courses have you done?
I've officially trained, you guys would be 320? Right around in that ballpark?
I was waiting for the 3 companies so far.
Yeah, I've trained like, it's over 300 polishers, but I want to say you guys are close to 320.
Who are the coolest?
What's that?
Who are the coolest?
I'd say top 15.
Top 5.
All right, we get the top 15.
15? Am I the top like 4?
Yeah, right.
Wow.
You're the only one below 15.
Fired.
Did I say top 115 or 15?
No one answer that.
No, I didn't expect to be training.
I think it'd be cool.
It's been a fun new outlet. Like I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy getting to see people grow and learn on their own. It's cool.
I mean,
It's not gonna be fun
Makes
when
me
he gets
feel-
on YouTube in 6 months and sees that our channel's bypassing.
Alec, you're the coolest.
This one podcast just outblew everything else.
Just don't forget me when you guys get famous. That's all I ask.
I'm already famous.
I don't even have any like ads or anything to even like follow me on. I got Snapchat.
That'll happen.
No, it'd be cool to like be a teacher. I think it'd be like humbling, kind of.
It is.
Like
I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy getting to see people grow and be able to pass this art on to somebody else.
yeah, I was even telling Steger earlier. I was like, it's cool like seeing what a guy's been doing it for so many years. You know, even you guys, you've been doing it longer than me. Everyone's been doing it longer than me. And like seeing I'm doing it kind of close to what they're doing it, you know.
That's what I mean, is I struggled for
You know,
20
yeah,
years
it's
trying to figure it
cool,
out on my own.
Or even like the same steps, you know, like I'm taking this step first, this step.
It's nice to be able to dump
You know.
20 years of information into somebody.
Yeah.
And then now I get to watch you guys on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, watch and see what you guys do with it from here.
Because in 20 years, you came up with,
Well,
like even holding the gun different, you know, or the buffer, like try it this way, you know, and like it took 20 years to even
Yeah.
be like, oh no, I think this is the best way. It's here I am, year and a half in, it's like,
You
20
comfortable
years.
with your habit, you don't even think about anything else.
yeah.
So just think about it. In 20 years,
That's
if you're
what I'm
still
saying.
doing this, imagine what you'll be able to teach
Yeah,
somebody
you
else.
guys are killer by then.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I see a lot of young polishers that have come and done the training course that have just taken their game next level, and it's like they're
I'm going.
next,
I'm
next,
LeBron
next,
in
next,
the
next.
fucking. winning his 5th title.
He's LeBron in the paint right now.
You brought MJ and Kobe up. Lakers just won the 17th. I'm bringing them to the 18th, breaking records.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I know.
Well, Tommy, you're the last one.
What do you got?
You guys took the big ones.
You always have something to say. There's just something to ask.
I asked how old those kids were.
Oh my God.
If they were interested in the business.
That's true, you did. I'll let that slide.
No, that's a horrible question. Think of something.
I'll let that slide. That was a good question.
Hey, nobody really asked about your family.
For what it's worth, I hope one of my kids does take it over.
That would be badass.
I hope by the time I want to let it go at 55, my wife tells me I'll never
So
let it go.
when I call your place, I'm talking to your sister then, right?
Yeah, usually it's my sister in the office, yeah. My wife comes in and she pays
No, I
bills.
mean when I was there to get the machine, your youngest daughter was there.
Yep.
She didn't have school or daycare or something that day.
Yep. Yeah, she was pretty young then yet, I think.
Yeah, they were all eating donuts behind the counter, and I'm just.
That's a true story. That's how most of the days go.
See him doing that too, like.
Yep.
It was
It's fairly accurate.
bumfuck Wisconsin.
Where
That's a
what
crappy
town was it?
drive.
Chilton,
Chilton.
middle of nowhere.
What's it close to?
We're
I've heard
south
reference Milwaukee.
south of Green Bay by like half hour, 45 minutes.
Oh, look at this.
Want to know you're a Packers fan?
Vikings fan.
Oh God, that's worse. That's it. That's done now.
Vikings are
Oh,
horrible
God.
this year.
I thought Vikings
Just
are
this year?
horrible every year, bro.
Yeah, let's go back to
Last time they won a
1966
Super
when you
Bowl
had-
was when?
Never.
Hey, it's our year next year.
It's our year next year.
The
I
famous,
think
That's what they
that,
all say.
that should be their team motto. It's our next year, next year.
I feel like it probably already is.
That's what they all say. It's our next year until they choke
I like
again,
the
right?
Chiefs too, alright?
Yeah, they're not.
Well, at least you got a good chance there.
Like legit for years now.
Can't
Not
say
since
much
they
about
won
the
Super Bowl,
Chiefs.
not
Not that they're the
Patriots.
best, but at least they're better than the Browns.
Hey, the Browns doing pretty good this year. If they can.
They start off strong every year. I feel.
Yeah, right. All the underdogs start off strong, and then it all
you watch
goes
football,
downhill.
Jesse? Me neither.
I haven't watched it all this year either.
Football?
Yeah. I'm over it this
They
year.
gave him one game.
They
They
put
one
like
game of Neil, so I mean.
they put like Black Lives
Hey, we
Matter and
weren't
everything too
political.
much into it, man.
It
It's
got too
just not-
political for me.
Yeah, it's just not regular
Hey,
football
did you see
anymore.
that?
I don't need
the
politics in
NBA
my
Finals had a 70%
Drop in
less-
ratings.
Yes.
Honestly,
Compared to a
I don't feel like
Vikings
politics
Seahawks
belongs in
game?
sports. That's just my own personal belief.
Yeah, I mean that's
You guys they're all celebrities. Like they have their own platform. They could do it on their own social media and stuff. They
Yeah.
don't need to do it in sports, something where they're being paid heavy for it.
Right.
Like I don't speak out very often about my political views just because
Same.
I don't feel like anybody
Needs
cares
to know.
what my view is. Like
Absolutely.
I can be friends with all of you guys. I don't care who you're voting for, where you stand on sports or politics or religion. Like I don't care. I appreciate everybody's religion and their own choices. Like I'm just happy with that.
If you're not a Vikings fan,
Except the Vikings. Like I gotta draw the line somewhere.
yeah, that's kind of
I'm kidding. I honestly don't
Get
care.
outta here.
Like, I just
I got
joke
my
around
shot.
about
Get
it.
out.
But I want to say
Yeah.
thank you to all you guys. This has been a fun training day. I'm glad you guys decided to do the podcast because these have been a good outlet for a lot of people. A lot of people have really reached out to me and said that they enjoy listening to these things because it's relatable content.
I didn't even know
for-
about it. Now I'm gonna have something to listen to.
It's relatable for a lot of people because a lot of people don't understand that I went through a lot of the same growing pains you guys are going through. A lot of the stuff I'm teaching you guys are a lot of the same issues I had. So it's like a lot of people don't understand that I started in the same spot you started. This all didn't just fall into my lap. So other people getting to listen to these podcasts and hear you guys talk about the same situations, they're relating to a lot of the issues that you're having. So it's just,
I was skeptical at first about like I can type in on YouTube and watch you do it on there, but it's way different in person.
Yeah,
It's a different experience.
Oh yeah. I feel like with the diamond plate.
I
like,
can't
also,
ask the
like,
computer screen what I want to ask while you're polishing.
yeah.
You don't listen to me when you're on.
There's a difference between watching something on this small of a
Yeah.
screen and seeing something in person because
Well, like
there's
you
just
said
so
earlier,
much small detail.
the
you
sound,
miss.
the pitches, and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so much small detail.
Like even when we were doing it, like
And you edit
faster,
out all the
less
small
pressure.
steps.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, like doing that grill. You know, you did it just as fast or faster than I've seen me or Tommy do it. But it's like you did it so just slick, and
Natural.
smoothly. It was like, and then all of a sudden it was like done, and you're like, oh shit, we'd be sanding still, and it's like, we're gonna keep that. Let's just go to the next step here, like, or ends of tanks. I think we can all say we've struggled with that, and shit, that thing looked good today.
Yeah, that end of that tank is perfect. There's no lines in it or nothing.
Yeah. It was honestly, I was jaw dropped. I feel like I'm still the best, but I mean,
But I enjoyed doing it. Like, I enjoy doing this. It's
I mean, compared to
been a lot of fun. I like teaching. You guys have been great students. I've seen you guys all grow just today. Pressure definitely changed a lot of stuff for you guys. It was,
For sure.
It was cool to be able to get to come out and do that.
It's cool when you don't fold under pressure though too. You know, like when you actually like do something and you're proud of yourself. I mean, I can speak for everyone too. You know, on that. Like when you get done, you're like, oh shit, that looks great. Instead of like I was waiting to catch a wire or something.
You just leave it.
I put them on my foot. But it's like I was waiting to fail. I was like, I told it. What's your name again?
Great.
Graham. It's like today's gonna be the first day I take one off the mask.
Yeah.
It's like, I haven't done it at all in a year and a half, and today's gonna be the day. But I didn't fold under pressure.
It's because today's the first day you've ever worn a mask.
Even one in the face.
Called out.
One in the face.
I was excited. I wanted to be the first one to polish something after I was like, dude, like, I'm
Maybe that's the thing. You put the mask on for the first time and just squeezed your head and you focused.
Gave him a stress headache.
My jaw cramps up so bad when you wear that thing for 8 hours.
Actually, that medium did not hurt my jaw. The large hurt my jaw more. I feel like it when you squeezed it tight,
you got a small head.
it pinched. Maybe.
Small
I got
brain.
less brains. I'm guaranteed of that. But I feel like with the big one, it doesn't pull it tight like this. It just pulls it tight this way, like it pinches it in like a taco almost.
That's what
Like
she
a
said.
taco.
Hopefully he ain't. Well, I think I'm cool.
But I appreciate you guys having me on, and hopefully we can do this again sometime. If you guys are ever over in Wisconsin, you guys are welcome at my place anytime. I always tell everybody, once you've done the training course once, you're welcome to come over to my shop and hang out and polish anytime you want. If anybody ever wants a refresher, I don't charge for those. I get polishers come through my shop and just hang out for 2-3 days at a time and just polish trucks with me in the shop. They just donate some time and we spitball and learn new stuff. I'm always trying to up my game too.
That'd be cool. We need to
Yeah.
talk about
That'd be nice.
a nice little road trip.
Yeah. Well, Austin just told me we bought 28 more trucks today, so.
What?
Nice.
So gross.
28 more?
Yeah, so gross.
All right, let's get
So,
out of here.
do you want to just buy a shot?
Move in for a while?
Yeah,
No.
right.
hard pack.
Till next time.
Polishing, we'll do everything else.
See ya.